Say. Oh, boy.
Go full Roseanne on it.
Chuck, don't worry.
Pills and
your
Ambien?
daughter also won't learn the national anthem in Scituate schools.
That's good. That's the last thing I need her learning is how to love her goddamn beautiful country. I'm pulling up the chat, boys.
I like how you get a notification for it.
Sign in the chat. All right. Chuck who? Hey.
Chuck who? Chuck who?
You're with the Revival Motoring pre-party. Is anybody there? Should I Instagram live the fact that we have this?
Yeah, you can do that.
I wish fucking Apple software update stopped asking me to update it on my PC. I mean, come on. Haven't I told you guys anything?
I gotta say, the new iOS is looking pretty tight. When it gets released, have you checked that out?
No, Ben doesn't give a
I
shit.
have not, no. I do know that my phone, because I have T-Mobile, does drop calls constantly.
Big shout out to T-Mobile. Thanks for being sponsors.
Well, I got them because you get free
You are the
internet
only one.
on Delta
Oh,
when you travel.
Oh, there it is.
And unlimited everything for $85 a month, so it seemed like a deal.
Until you realize that it's terrible.
Until you realize it's terrible.
I pay Verizon. I jumped back on a plan with my old man
Yeah.
because he qualifies as a senior discount. So it's $45 unlimited everything.
Damn.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Instagram and live that we're doing this. FCP Euro's going live right now. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Somebody named John Orr just wrote, watching while driving the E30 through San Francisco, full send.
Big show, man. Hit them hills.
Lombard Street. I want to
That's
watch
right.
out on that one.
Is it Lombard or Lombardi?
Lombard, I think.
That's
I
a
always
goodie.
get the, because,
Lombard,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Super Bowl
I
trophy or Windy Road.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
That's
I
what.
drove down a bunch when I was in San Francisco.
Because you can
Yeah.
only go down, right?
Yeah,
It's
Yes.
one way,
going
yeah.
down,
Yeah.
Should I go live? No, I should make a story, right?
Yeah, just make a story that we're on. And it's way steeper than I ever pictured.
Yeah. it's
Yeah.
gnarly.
Yeah.
And then, like, the fact that there's then garages off of it.
Off, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite the, I wouldn't want to live there.
Hey, everybody, if you're on the trash pit called Instagram, hop onto the trash pit called YouTube and check us out live on the Revival Motoring Podcast channel. We're going to podcast with English Ben and Young Ben in his hobbit hole.
Got to make a round door there for him. Why be in the hobbit hole? All right. We're getting this pre-party started. It's really going off. Big shout out to Josh Garcia for signing in. Whoop, whoop. Big shout out to Turbo Mike for answering my questions. Big shout out to Diaz for getting his Porsche
Oh my
back.
God,
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it back?
Yeah. Finally
Damn.
got it done there. Very tight.
I brought.
I
John,
saw.
love you being here.
I saw. Those stickers, I think, have been around the world with me because I remember taking some from England to Australia. I carried them in my surfboard bag. And we went on like a safari on Fraser Island in Australia, and I stuck them on our Land Cruisers and then gave them to a bunch of people and then still had a ton and brought them back with me. So they could have, that one could have been around the world.
I've never. You gave me like 5 of them,
Yeah,
and
That-
I haven't stuck it to anything.
that's the one.
Yeah.
That's what I have.
That's world traveled.
So the next time we get like a scanner or something in the building, I'm gonna
Oh.
scan it, and this way.
Well, you could just get the logo and then reproduce them.
I mean, any of the logos I found online weren't this one.
Really?
Oh, that's an old, that's an
Yeah,
old
they were
one maybe.
they were like up because it changed a little bit. Like this, this is like real kind of like sublimey.
Yeah.
You're like,
We should just scan it.
yeah, exactly.
Take the R off.
Changes to an M, Gumball. How is Mum? How'd you
She's
doing?
good. I spoke to her on the way over and I was like, oh, and
how's her lockdown going?
she doesn't do anything anyway. So it's the
So
same
it's
for her.
quite alright with her.
And
She-
people in England with the village she lives in aren't wearing masks because there's only like 1,000 people who live there anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like
I,
you
I,
have to line up to go in the village shop now, but otherwise it's the same.
Sounds
like that.
pretty tight.
So she's
Yeah.
pretty stoked.
good for her.
Yeah, so she cannot complain. But yeah, Mumble, I talked to her. She's like, haven't you been on the podcast already? I was like, yeah, we're going to talk about Gumball. She's like, oh, that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah, she gets it.
Ian K in the house.
She gets
Base
it.
VR up in here. Some guy,
For her.
Blake Hathaway. Doing good. Doing good. We're trying to get this baby popping off. Once we reach 200 people, we're going live. We're going to get this podcast going.
See you in a couple weeks.
Oh, I got a package delivered from Amazon. What?
Oh, I got a book delivered today.
Why
I'm
is
very
Amazon
excited
got to
about
send
it.
so many messages, though? Like,
Did they send you a
delivered.
picture
10
of where
stops
they
away.
dropped it?
9
Sometimes.
stops away. 8 stops away.
I got a picture of where it got delivered today.
It's like,
That's
we
pretty
delivered
good.
your package. How was it? Like, I don't know, man. Leave me alone.
Like I'm at
I
work.
get the opposite. I
I'll
don't
tell
know
you
if
when it's
anything
bad.
ships ever. It
Really?
just shows up.
Really?
I like that.
Keeps me guessing.
Sometimes you want to have that in your life. You know, a
Sometimes
little
I'll
bit
order
of a surprise.
stuff and forget, and then oh wow, what's that?
Yeah, it's like Christmas when you
Oh wait, could it be?
Oh, don't worry. Amazon just sent me a push message through my phone to ask as well.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Blake is just the best person.
Blake is just a dirty old man.
Oh, my God.
I didn't even look.
Is it in yet? Ah, boy.
Yep. Let me make sure these are working.
It's time.
Yep.
Yeah, don't give him a preview of that, baby. That's
Nope.
You hit that R button? There we are.
just
Very
make sure to
important.
hit that. Yeah.
I've been getting more followers on Instagram, even though I don't post anything.
Center of the earth.
Probably, man. I just got a follow from
Joe
a-
Biden.
Please vote for me. No, I got a follow from Cindy's Diner in Rhode Island,
Ooh.
which Ben knows where it's at. Why they follow
Yeah.
me, dog?
I don't know.
All right.
Thanks for the insight, Ben.
If I don't know who they are, we don't have any mutuals, I just fucking deny it.
Ben,
Wait, you
Oh,
can deny
don't-
it? I'm
don't
public,
forget.
baby.
You can like like accept or deny, and I'm like,
don't forget
Yeah,
you got to take
ignore.
your notes.
ignore. Yeah, whatever it is.
There's a pen over there and a pad.
Yeah, real notes this time.
We're
Real
gonna go.
nuts. Yeah, we got to get you going.
I think we can go full minute.
Full minute?
Oh no, I cannot do a full minute.
You can do
What
a
do you
full
mean? You
minute.
can do a
You
full
did
minute.
45 seconds like it was nothing the other day.
A minute.
Most of it
isn't
was
that- isn't
inaccurate,
that
but-
long.
Right. Yeah, yeah. One of the two things you said was very inaccurate.
I loved it.
Yeah.
But it was perfect.
It's in there.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I share the same sentiment, Ben.
Big shout to Ian K's mail lady.
What about her?
Well, Ian K ordered something to his wrong address, and she corrected it and brought it to him.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Big shout. That's a U.S. mail getting it done. Really?
There's a good last week tonight with John Oliver on the U.S. Mail, if anyone.
Oh, I saw that one.
It's pretty good, right?
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
I like John Oliver.
Yeah, that guy's smart.
He's a clever little man.
He is. Has anyone been watching any of the late night show things when
I've
they're doing it at
seen-
home and there's no laughter?
And it's terrible?
So fucking
really
weird.
tough. Yeah.
Awkward. Young Ben does a better job
Yeah,
out here in front of the news
that's
update.
what I was thinking about.
It was.
Yeah,
It was.
Young Ben's knocking out of the park compared to that.
I haven't watched. I
Last
only seen.
podcast tonight with Young Ben.
Yeah.
It's gonna be electric. I watched maybe 3 minutes of Kimmel's,
Yeah,
The
I haven't watched any
intro.
of his.
and I was just like, ooh.
The only thing I
This
watched
is
of him is
not-
when he drove to Bill Burr's house to talk to him on the side of the road. That was the
Yeah.
only thing I watched.
Kimmel's like, apologize. He's in a lot of trouble
Oh,
right
he's
now.
in some trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he
he's in
done
some
now?
shit.
He sees.
He did a Karl Malone impression, full blackface, on the Man Show back in the day.
Years ago. Yeah.
And then there's
Oh.
some other shit he did on a Snoop Dogg track. I don't know,
Yeah.
man. The whole world's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't really
Everyone
like Jimmy
found it
Kimmel
funny
anyway.
then, and no one complained then. So
Right, but yeah, times have changed.
yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
No, I get
Yeah.
that. Yeah, for sure.
Ian K, that makes sense. I forget stuff immediately, though, buddy.
It's definitely
Like, hey, you're not supposed to be doing this anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everything's.
Well, he's not doing it
High
anymore.
alert.
No, that's the whole problem.
Yeah. At least for the summer, right? That was
Right.
like,
Once you get through the summer.
yeah. Dr. Summeroff is what he said.
Dr. Summeroff. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's out. Jimmy Kimmel's out for the summer.
Is he really?
Yeah,
But he
I
said-
don't. Jimmy Kimmel does nothing for me, man.
No, I've never
No,
found
he
him
never
funny
did.
anyway.
Yeah. ever.
Having somebody else. I mean, there's a
Same
bunch
thing
of
with
awkward
Fallon.
Jimmys.
Like, I've never really been a big
Yeah.
fan of Fallon
There's
either.
some things that I.
Fallon's part
that-
of Dick in a Box, so I give him credit forever for that. But I
Right.
think Timberlake had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
as
Right.
well.
There was a
Right,
couple things that I.
Wait, Fallon wasn't part of that. Fuck Jimmy Fallon.
That
Yeah,
I'd
it was
be
Andy
okay
Samberg.
with. But
Andy Samberg, who's amazing.
Who I confused with Jimmy Fallon immediately when you said that. 'cause,
just
like,
did.
yeah.
Justin Timberlake and
Hot Rod underrated.
Yeah, one of the
Hot Rod,
greatest.
yeah.
Hot Rod is one of the greatest.
Want to get rolling?
Yeah.
Young Ben, is there anything we need to discuss before we
Before we
No.
get this party started,
launch the ship?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
All right, English Ben, you gonna send us off here?
Yeah, I can. Let me know when we're ready to start. On this week's Revival Motoring Podcast, Chuck almost buys new countertops, Corey almost tiles his garage floor, and Josh almost remembers to install lifts.
You gonna hit the
There we
button?
go.
How much editing you want to do for yourself?
I was gonna say, oh wow,
You want to start
that's a
again?
good amount of editing time on
Let's
that.
try it again.
No, it's fine. I can easily.
No, you sure? I mean, we'll just do it again. It'll be funny for the pre-party.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, let's
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it
we'll
again.
do it.
Just
Okay.
when
I'll
he's
be ready
done,
this
hit the
time.
button.
I didn't
ready.
even-
Hand
I
on the
didn't-
button.
now you can
Yeah.
put
Hand
Josh
on the
forgets to hit
button.
a button.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh Jesus! Hey, sound Englisher.
On this week's Revival... Okay. On this week's Revival Motoring Podcast, Chuck almost buys new countertops, Corey almost tiles his garage, and Josh almost pushes the button.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Hello.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Revival Motoring Podcast. As always, I'm joined by Chuck Hu,
Oh,
Corey.si,
Hello, hello.
and I am Josh Garcia, because I forgot to say that.
still.
I am all out of sorts.
Yeah, Josh, how deep are you into that beer?
Josh has had.
Half.
Josh started drinking a beer like
Half?
half an hour ago.
Half.
Half?
I can't even spell half.
And if
right
you're
now.
watching this on YouTube, you know how off the
You had food today?
trail he went there.
I didn't have lunch, no.
All right, well,
No,
there you go.
I had a
There
breakfast
you go.
sandwich. Yeah, here we are once again, episode number 102. We have English Ben in the studio.
Hello,
We're going to talk about some Gumball stuff, some Gumball Mumball stuff. I don't know if all the kids out there listening even know what Gumball 3000 is, but we're going to try to school you on that and talk about Ben's participation. And as always, we have the youngest of Ben's sitting in his little, what was it called? The
Hobbit hole.
Hobbit hole. He's just behind us over there,
Give him a holler.
ready to bring the heat.
What's up?
Yeah. Wow.
Before we get rolling, this episode is brought to you by us. Visit revivalmotoring.com. Then what I want you to do, go onto your favorite podcast playing device. Do us a huge favor. If you don't already subscribe, click that subscribe button. Then go over to iTunes, if that is your chosen podcast playing device.
Lame.
Leave us a good rating, 5 stars, and then go back to that search bar and search Talking Motorcycles Podcast and do the same for that podcast as well. We truly appreciate it, and it'll help us out. So that's that.
Big time.
It's a big party over there. And don't whatever. If you're using an Apple device, it's iTunes, right? It's nothing else.
Right. Well, I
you
Until
found...
we
Spotify.
get signed exclusively to Spotify.
Yeah, exactly. And they have a rating system. I don't know if Spotify even has a rating system yet. I think Stitcher or somebody does. I was looking at one the other day.
Stitcher does.
Yeah, because I was trying to fix the Brett Sloan episodes and make those older episodes appear, which I did. Stupid little setting that basically once you hit 100 episodes, it got rid of the... We don't want that. We're looking, 1,200, 1,300, 10,000. That's what we're looking to do here. So
10,000.
10,000.
I mean, Joe Rogan just recorded his 1,460 something episodes.
Yeah,
You're talking
he's-
about
We're getting there.
10,000.
We're
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
there.
I mean, this is an end of... This is like the
You've been
marriage
at it for like
ring.
10
This
years.
This is the same thing.
I used to use Stitcher. That fell apart, man. Not a Stitcher guy. I'm a Pocket Cast guy
I didn't
now.
know anything about Stitcher until I was looking up some advertising stuff.
Stitcher back in the day, one of the first big podcasts used Stitcher a lot. What the hell was the name of it?
I don't know.
The one about the kid that went to jail for the murder there. No takers. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. That
No
one
takers.
does not ring a bell.
It was an NPR one. It was really good.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I switch back and forth, especially now, because I've been listening to some stuff on Spotify. I'm okay with it. And some stuff on Google Podcasts.
I don't have Spotify.
They're all kind of the same, I
wasn't a
guess.
big fan of the app, but
Have they stepped the app up, perhaps?
I think they will be.
maybe.
They're making these large sum investments, so I think they're going to focus some development on the app as well.
All
Let's
right.
hope.
Video stuff.
Ben, what do you listen to your podcasts on?
I listen to Apple, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
because I have an iPhone.
You just stay in the eco
That's what I do.
ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah.
I listen to you guys, and now that obviously COVID's happening, I'm not driving around as much, so I wait for your podcast to come through. I listen to Matt Farah, John Ludwig, and the
Sweet.
Talking Motorcycles, and that's pretty much it. I cut my Gary V out because I'm not in the car enough, So, although I do like to get fired up by a little Gary V every now and then.
Just get amped.
15-minute
like
quick
stoked.
hits.
Yeah,
Gotta get
exactly,
fired,
yeah.
baby. Gotta get fired.
Just like Dwight Schrute before he goes to make a sales call. That episode of The Office. He plays like I don't know, it's like Slayer, and he's just smashing his head on the back seat of the car. It's amazing. I do that every time I enter this building. I believe this episode is also brought to you by somebody else.
Oh, well, Josh, I'm glad you asked. Is your car full bolt on? Does it still feel like it's missing something? Welcome to the wonderful world of custom machining. Need a pro to show you the ropes? Dennis at FF Metalworks is the man for you. FF Metalworks is a full-blown machine shop that can make your dreams come true. Catch can not snazzy enough? Sick of that shitty coolant overflow bottle? How about you make those bitches out of titanium? That's right. Any type of metal for your custom project is possible. Need to spice it up in the bedroom? FF Metalworks has a strict don't-ask policy. Just send them the specs. A great way to take your build from full bolt-on to custom is a completely custom shift knob. Dennis worked with yours truly, Chuck Hume, to come up with an absolutely ridiculous titanium and purple heartwood shift knob for my car, the Nurple. He's also worked with Josh's knob and with Corey's knob, with young Ben waiting in the wings. Also, this just in, FF Metalworks produces custom knobs for your Ultra Hot Boy CA shifter. Get rid of that bolt on top and show the world you're a custom dude now. Trying to spice it up even further? FF Metalworks can do intake manifolds, valve covers, cans, bottles, you name it. Dennis works hand in hand with you to create your perfect piece. Ready to step your game up? Reach out to FF Metalworks today on Insta or email them on ffmetalworks.ca. That's CA, but all the prices are in USDs, so kind of keep it less confusing for y'all.
Yeah.
So hit Dennis up, man. Hit your boy up. He's quite the man.
Oh, Canada.
The myth, the legend. Canada's beautiful.
Canada.
The Great White North.
Yeah, it seems
we
pretty tight
may
up
not
there.
even be allowed in there. I mean, we're not allowed in there now. We may not be allowed back ever.
Yeah, man. I saw all this
At
EU
this
stuff.
point.
They might not let us back in either.
Yeah, it might be everybody.
Someone told me, and I don't know if it's true, but 80% of the population of Canada is below Seattle.
It's totally believable.
Yeah, I think
Have
that's
we ever
correct.
looked at what's above that?
Right, snow and
Yeah.
trees.
It's the tundra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Poles.
Alaska.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to live up there?
Elk.
Alaskans.
Yeah.
Elk, man.
Elk.
Sounds like none fun.
Yeah.
Deep
yeah.
elk.
I don't like heat, but I also don't like snow.
I don't mind heat.
I like them both. I like snow more than heat, though. And thankfully, COVID has ruined the summer, so it seems like
You're just gonna go
hill
right
season's just coming quick,
yeah,
baby.
right back to the hill.
Coming right
You
for me.
gotta hope that snow starts dumping sometime soon.
Oh, man. Can't wait. It's almost time, man. Next month, I'd guess.
Speaking of time, it's time for our
If you'd like to leave a callback number, press 2.
callbacks.
Callbacks.
I have a quick one, and then not so quick one. Quick one will be shouts to Road Defined. He and I were chatting back and forth. Basically, Road Defined is making steering wheels. And he and I have been chatting back and forth, and I was just curious when production was going to start on those wheels because I need to get something for the M3 pretty soon. And he said, oh, you know what? Let me send you one of our prototypes. Just
Ooh.
pay shipping. So he is sending me a prototype. So as soon as I get that, I'll take some pictures, probably get that installed in the car, and then ultimately lead everybody to their website once those things are produced and readily available. I'm excited to receive that thing. Should be this week.
What does
Early
it
next
use
week.
for, like a boss? Is it like Momo pattern, or is it?
Good question. I think it's Momo. I'm not
I mean,
too
that
sure.
makes most sense. It's like the most common one, probably easily
just the
readily
6
available.
bolt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just pay shipping. It's $500.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah, of
No,
course.
it's right.
Yeah, the Momo and the Nardi patterns are very different. So
Are
Yep.
they? Okay.
yeah,
I
one's
think
kind of
it's-
centered on top, and the other one's split on top.
Okay.
If you're at 12 o'clock,
Yep.
on a Momo there's a bolt at 12.
Right.
On the Nardi
It
they're
splits.
split. Yeah,
He might use. I probably have the picture. Maybe it's the Nardi one. I can't remember.
it's probably.
I'll have
I
to
think
take a
most
look.
people use a Momo one.
Yeah.
Do you went with an ultra deep drift
Deep
setup?
one. Yeah. Because Noah and I were talking. Noah gave me an adapter that I'm hoping I can use. And he said that adapter he used in his E36, and he had to get a deeper steering wheel because it was very shallow. So he said, whatever you do, get a deep one.
Yeah, if you don't like how convenient it is to use blinkers, it's great to have a deep wheel.
So I went full.
You got long fingers?
I went full on,
Let me see those
retro.
boys.
Oh no, these things
Those
are
aren't going to do it. Those aren't going to do it.
I'm gonna have to put extends on my fingers. Hit the blinkers. Did you ever see that retro video game? There's a very particular. I think it was one with the Ferrari. There's a very particular steering wheel that I fell in love with when I was like 8 years old.
Cruising USA?
It's basically the same steering wheel. So
really,
we'll see how that's going to turn out.
Was it Outrun?
Outrun. That sounds like it. I believe that's what it was. Yeah, it was a good one. Another callback. So this one's going to be a little bit longer, but very, very unfortunate callback to our friend Nick from MR Wheels. For everybody out there listening, I am now going to read a statement that he sent us to everybody because there was an incident this past weekend. So he writes, "Dear friends, followers, and supporters, on June 21st, my business suffered fire damage. The damage to the building was enough that the shop has been boarded up indefinitely. I have no timeline for when I will be able to enter to remove all of my tools and equipment and fully assess damages. Officials say it may be many months. It's difficult to see a bright side to this, but I am truly thankful that no one was hurt. My followers have been nothing short of amazing, and I just want to thank everyone for the outpouring of support that I've received. You are all one of the main reasons why I love doing what I do." Let's see, I lost my place. "I have no idea what the future will hold. I am hopeful that, with help, I might be able to be back up and running in some capacity somewhat soon. I wish I could tell you that I'll definitely be back, bigger and better than ever, but I simply don't know. I have worked for a long time to build the business from the ground up, and it is truly has been a dream come true. I have hope that this is not goodbye, just a momentary pause. Thank you for sticking with me and for all the support in this trying time. It really has meant so much." So with that said, he was very hesitant to start a GoFundMe. The last thing he wanted to do was ask for help, but he didn't have a choice because his sister started a GoFundMe for him. So we're going to include that link on the description of this YouTube episode, in the description of this podcast episode, and we'll promote it on social media. So go to that link and help support Nick at MR Wheels because he was doing awesome stuff and just unfortunately hit a gigantic setback.
Yeah, I mean, let me just put out there that I didn't know Nick, obviously, before he started advertising with us here. You guys met him once before, I think. And I went up there to drop off my wheels, and it was just like instant. Like, Nick's just a great dude. He's so into wheels, and he's such a good car guy and a good bullshitter. And like, we just every time I look forward to going up there. I went up with Corey to bring his wheels up there. He's just a great guy. It sucks to see this happen. I know we can help him out with the GoFundMe. We're obviously willing to help in other ways as well. And we've been in contact with Nick because he's just a real legitimate, awesome car dude. He's got some just awesome, cool coupes that he owns now. I hate to see this happen to the man. And then, we're behind him. Anything he needs, we're here. So. And
one thing, and I'm going to say a couple of these things, and this isn't us promoting our YouTube video by any means, but over the winter, myself and Corey took a ride up there.
Yeah, John Stairs as well. Yeah.
Well, before we even decided to shoot a video, I just brought my camera and was just going to shoot some photos or whatever, just see his kind of operation out of his home garage. And as soon as we got there, literally as soon as we walked into the small little shop, it was so organized and thought out, and you could literally see the passion, spewing out of the place.
Yeah, I was saying pouring out of him.
And right, in him in general. And then that was when I'm like, yeah, I don't want to shoot pictures. I want to shoot a video and let you talk, because the conversation we had with him, we were up there for a few hours just shooting the shit. It was a great conversation, so we figured let's follow up with shooting a proper video, give everybody some insight to the operation at the time and into Nick himself. So we did that. It's on YouTube if you want to get a further insight and familiarize yourself with him and what he does. That was shot a few months back. And matter of fact, we shot that, and let's say a month or 2 months after we did that, he got keys to the place that he's currently up against it with right now. So it's just unfortunate. We hope to see him come back and be operational as soon as possible.
Yeah, last time we were there, he had just really gotten everything up and
organized,
had a good groove to the whole thing,
yeah.
man. The place was so beautiful. It was wheel heaven. So you hate to see that go. So please help him out. Yeah, we love him. So
Yeah.
Good thing you showed
Tough
me
to
how to
see.
powder coat.
yeah,
I was
luckily,
just gonna
yeah,
say,
Corey's covering everything
Yeah,
with
it's a good
gold.
thing you showed me. So just ship it
powder
all to
coat.
me, and then we'll figure it out from there. No, but seriously, I hope he gets his stuff back up and going. It's definitely something I could not picture Nick never getting involved with again. You know,
Oh, the guy's
Oh,
just.
no.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
just the best.
it would be impossible for him to not be involved with this again.
There's
Right.
no way. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
let
it's just
me
a matter of time.
see. I just want to find. Does anybody know? All right. Yeah.
I have it pulled up here if you need it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I want to reference, and if you can't donate to the GoFundMe, then just share this.
Yeah, just
share
pass it
his,
along.
Share his Instagram. His Instagram is MR1 Wheel Refinishing, obviously on Instagram. So follow that. You can get a quick look at all the stuff that he did produce, and that is probably where updates with how things are going, things are progressing, and how operational he's going to be will be. So follow that just to see how everything unfolds. That's it for my callbacks.
I know we talked about the 4-banger Supra the other week, that it was kind of expensive, etc.
Yes.
So,
Just a quick update for our listeners. We don't have to get into it, but Toyota answered the phone.
yeah, hey. So
we
maybe we'll
have-
see a 4-banger Supra.
We have contact once again.
Yeah, now that
Nice.
everybody else has gotten them.
Right,
Let's see if
right.
the
He
boys
is
can get
phone
one.
home.
Yeah.
So, we talked about it. So it weighs, I got a weight on it, which I thought was interesting. So it weighs 3,180 pounds is the curb weight on it, which ain't light. Because a lot of people are like, well, at least it's light. So it's lighter than the...
the difference is what, 350, 400 pounds?
yeah, it's lighter than the 3.0. I know I watched Matt Farah's The Smoking Tires review of it.
Yep.
And he even gets to, like, the horsepower per weight is way better on the other one anyway. So,
Yep.
But yeah, I thought it was really heavy. I mean, that's more than my GTR weighs.
I think it's
Which
like
is
the
weird.
same weight as like a 1 Series.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's light for today. I mean, it's fairly light for a modern
Right,
car. I
everything
guess.
else that's out there. I seen a Supra today on the road again. Matter of fact, the same silver one I seen on the opposite side of the highway going the opposite way last time. I seen the same one. I mean, they are lookers, if you will, when you see them rolling.
Yeah,
it's noticeable.
It does look really cool.
It stuck out to me, especially silver. It looked pretty good.
And I think if you watch, I think Matt Farah on Smoking Tire did a really good review of the 4-cylinder one that he just put up on YouTube last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really pull any punches. It's good to watch.
Yeah, it is. He
So if
does
you
a
wanna
very good
hear about it, him overheating the transmission and stuff.
gonna
comparison
ask about
job.
that, yeah.
Right. There's the brakes start to lose it a little bit, especially around the canyon roads that he was driving in.
Yeah, that's scary.
Goes through some other differences. A lot of it's lacking a decent amount of stuff.
I think it was kind of the point where we were like, why wouldn't you spend the extra money? And I think
Right, and
watching his
just-
review was like, well, I think he thinks the same thing. Why wouldn't you spend the extra money?
Yeah, and he compared,
Chuck that shit on a firm, you'd
he
be fine.
he referenced it in a way where everybody who bought a BRZ or FRS was like, well, now I gotta make it better, and
Yeah.
this one's a little bit better, but still, it's like, well, why not just buy the other one?
Yeah.
Right.
But because
So-
by the time you're done making it better, you're already at
The other one.
the door.
Yeah,
of
now you
where-
don't have a warranty,
Yeah.
and it's costs the same money.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to see.
Did anyone see that billboard that Toyota put out, like teasing, like still waiting for a Corvette? They put out a billboard and it was like, oh, like still waiting, or like, I actually have the exact verbiage here, and it was
For
about
a Corvette.
yeah. So Toyota put it out like, oh, it's like still waiting for a Corvette, and like in the sense of like, hey, you
Come
can,
get a Supra
you can literally come buy a Supra right now.
because people aren't buying them.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
guess.
still waiting on a Corvette. Yeah, and it was like a little.
I had
like,
a picture of a Supra. I don't know if I was Toyota if I'd start going
That
up against the
war. Right.
Corvette.
That's a bit of a ballsy move, right?
It's a very ballsy move.
Because I
Now-
wouldn't want the world to know that the Supra costs the same as a Corvette. Not that you can actually get a Corvette that cheap. But
right.
Now this was in Louisiana.
Right, so nobody's waiting for a Supra.
They know
So-
their market.
It's not the so that's what
Do
I
you know about the Supra? Have you heard about our Lord and Savior?
That's kind of what I wanted to
Supra?
get at. Is like, yeah. So it's still waiting on a Corvette. Come get your Supra.
I feel like it's a very different audience.
Very
Right,
different
right.
audience. Both no matter where you are in the world, car buying, but also where you are in the world.
Right.
Like-
Yeah.
I
They,
think-
I don't know how much time and effort they put into researching that demographic where they were going to post.
For the first time ever, I think I would want a Vet over a Supra.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
we're spending
C7,
the same money.
C7, I would have been like, yeah, fuck that. I don't
Yeah.
want. I'll
Yeah.
take the Supra. It's
Yeah.
turbo. But now it's like, it's a mid-engine V8
Right. They just.
I would have taken the C7 over the Super as
And
well.
I don't think
but
that's what the 4-cylinder Vet. I was surprised, like only revs to like 6,200 RPM.
four-cylinder Vet.
4-cylinder Super.
Super
you mean?
rather.
Oh,
Yeah,
four-cylinder.
4-cylinder Vet's the same.
I was gonna be like,
I was gonna say,
what?
wait,
No, but the
you know
4-cylinder
something we
Super
don't?
only revs to like 6,200 RPM, and like
Yeah.
That's not that high.
And he said.
that's terrible.
Yeah, it's like
and,
diesel.
Farris said that its power band was like $3,000 to 5,300. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I take the first time ever. If you put the Super out against the C7, I'd be like, yeah, you buy the Super chip and it's gonna murder that thing. It's cooler looking. The CA Vet looks good, man.
And I
they
think
shouldn't tell the
that's-
world that it's the same price because
I think
I don't know.
that's what do you call it? Kudos to just Corvette for building again something that's supercar-esque levels.
Yeah.
For a,
also I'd
Right.
wait. I'd wait a year for a Vet instead of wasting my money on the Super.
I think you're gonna have. Oh yeah, you're gonna have to anyway. But yeah,
at the end of
why-
the day, you're like, well, I waited, but it's
right?
it's a Vet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Vet. Just to piggyback on that, there was a video that went around of a flat plane crank C8
Oh yeah.
V8, and it sounded so now it not only looks the part of the supercar, but it also sounds the part of a
Oh,
supercar.
sounds
Yeah.
the business.
Because like it made like Ford had their flat plane, which sounds incredible, but then this thing is just like
Don't even bother.
yeah.
Ben, you got to.
I sat in it.
Sit in one, right?
I didn't drive it. They had it. I guess premiere in LA was at the Motoring Club, and I'm a member and went. We sat in a convertible. It was pretty cool.
Charleston
that's where
Motoring
they-
Club, pretty
That's
cool
where
spot.
they did the debut of the convertible.
Yeah,
right?
that's
The-
right. Yeah, it was definitely cool.
Ben, how tall are you?
6'3".
Okay,
Plenty
how'd
of
you
space
fit?
in there.
All right, that's-
Plenty of space.
Really?
Yeah.
Bonus space.
Wow,
Plenty of
that's-
space for the sticks too.
The sticks, golf clubs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think they made it.
They
so
did,
there's
yeah.
plenty of
Specifically for
golf
the
space.
sticks,
Yeah,
right?
We
yeah,
always
exactly.
talk about the sticks, man.
Because
You
gotta
need
have the
room for
sticks.
them.
There was, I think that there was a Jag convertible a while ago that was built so that they could have golf clubs in, and then they had to like add a spoiler on the back because it didn't have the right downforce, and then they had to add it on, and it was
Without clubs, it wouldn't stay on the ground.
exactly without the
Yeah.
weight of the clubs, So no, the Corvette was cool. It was, everyone sort of says about the controls are kind of weird around like where the
that
shifter and stuff
cascade
is,
down.
but
Yeah.
again, like once you've set things up to your air conditioning temperature that you like, normally
Yeah.
you just turn it on. That's it.
I don't
Right.
even. I can't even think. Okay, it's hot. I'd set my AC, and then that's it. Like
Right.
I never touch it again.
Yeah.
Right.
And then like once I need heat in the car, like I just set it to how I leave it, and then I never touch it again. Like I don't.
It was, I mean, for a 60, 70 grand car, it was definitely like a lot of car, or
Yeah.
seems like a lot of car for that money. Plenty of space in the passenger seat. Like it was
They
cool.
fire it up at all? How's the baby sounding inside of a
They-
building?
They
That's the way you fire up.
Yeah,
did not, I want to say, because of that, but
because of being inside.
because of being inside.
California, man.
California, yeah.
So
Would have left it running out here.
Hey,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, hey Chevy, give us a shout. We'll fucking
it was definitely cool.
bounce that thing off the
It
rev
was
limiter.
definitely cool.
Yeah.
We were.
Whole
I was
podcast.
actually during quarantine. I went and got takeout sushi with my girlfriend, and we were like driving through Santa Monica, and there was one behind us. They pulled in at the same park where we sort of sat and ate, and the guy had his roof down, and like they had already got out, and I walked past and sort of had a look at it. And it looked awesome in white. It looks.
So
cool.
what
Oh,
color
yeah.
was the one you saw at the
It was
Motor
like
Club?
a golden-y, kind of orangey.
I think that's their like halo color. That's like their release color.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one I
That's
saw.
what I've seen a lot,
Was
yeah.
that too.
Because I know Wayne Carini got that same color as well.
But the white one looks
The
awesome.
white looks
And for,
awesome.
For people that don't know cars, like it could easily be a Ferrari.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Easily.
yeah,
Right,
yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah. Yeah,
right.
it's the same
Or-
thing as the V8 and LS. It just doesn't.
Right. Exactly. Well, I mean, people don't know what V8s are if they don't know cars. But like, if you don't know a car and you're like, "That's a Ferrari," that could be a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
yeah.
just throw a Ferrari badge on, you're good to go.
Right. I mean, they don't. Do they know what a Ferrari badge is? Maybe. Maybe not.
Just yellow
Yeah,
vet badge.
Yellow and a black pony. on
I
it.
mean, if I was
Yeah.
going vet, I'd go red.
yeah. There you
you
go.
gotta
then
go
it's
red.
a Ferrari.
Yeah, right.
That's your Rari. You drove a 4C as well, right? How'd
Yeah,
you
so
fit
the
in that?
The Motoring Club, I was going to. It was funny you had brought that up because I was going to talk about that. The Motoring Club has a 4C as a rental that they do on Turo, and then if you're a member, you get like a discounted rate. And I borrowed it a few times, and always had the roof off. And I have long legs. I'm tall. I'm 6'3", but like my legs are long, but my body's kind of short. So I actually fit in it okay. I actually bought this hat when I rented the car because I didn't have one. I was like, oh, my head's going to burn, so I got to get a
Yeah.
hat. So I got this Motoring
You're getting a
Club
little
hat.
thin on top.
Very. They don't say receding, they say retreating. So at the front, it's okay, but the
No,
back.
you look good. You look good.
Yeah, when you're 6'3", people can't see it, but when you sit down, or you're in the pool and your hair's wet, not so good. Anyway, the 4C's awesome piece of kit. Like
Yeah.
admittedly, there's no stick, but you can put it in dynamic, and I borrowed it. We went up through Malibu and then like hit the canyons and got the back end out a little bit. And in dynamic mode, it's fast.
It's a tiny little car.
It's tiny, but it's super light, and it's not the most elegant thing to get in and out of, especially when you're not that agile.
Yeah.
And you got a burrito in your hand. But it's awesome. 4C if you can rent one for the day, or I mean, I remember test driving a Lotus Elise thinking I was going to get one as a daily driver, and then realizing that it rains in England and all the time, and you can't get in one very gracefully, and getting out of it in the rain would be a nightmare. I got a B5 S4 wagon instead, which still
That's the play.
probably my favorite car ever. Love
Yeah.
that thing.
Respectable.
But the 4C's awesome. Definitely, if you're tall, not as easy. There's not a huge amount of space in there, but the seats move back, so I had plenty of space. But there is no storage space. I think I put a very empty backpack in the back with the roof, because the roof's in there, and there's like a tiny cubby, like where your elbow is, that you can put your wallet in. And
that's it.
That's about
Yeah,
it.
there's no glove compartment on it.
It's
pretty funny.
I'm not sure. There's not any space. Like you can put something in the passenger footwell, but that's about it. But if you're just going driving, the thing's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think
Really
swinging the tail on that thing's like faces of death shit
I
too.
mean,
Because the
it was-
motor's behind you and it's this long.
Yeah, we were on the canyon roads, and my girlfriend's like, "Whoa, you're going too quick!" And I sort of just gave a little bit too much, and it just moved just an inch. You know,
You
And I
had to
was
let
like,
it know.
"Oh."
Sure am.
Yeah. So
How's it
concur.
sound?
it sounds pretty good.
Really?
It's yeah, and
They
it's
run some crazy amount of boost from the factory, like
It's-
20 something
it's
psi.
fast,
Yeah,
like really fast.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
What's
I mean,
the MSRP on this? Like, what do they even
they're
go
like
for?
50.
I don't know.
maybe?
That's how little I know about them. It's just
the
like
whole first run group, all the carbon tubs delaminated.
Yeah.
So-
they need
They
to
don't.
replace
They took them all back.
I didn't even know they were still producing them. But 2020 Alfa Romeo 4C Spider MSRP
Looks
67
great.
150.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it does look amazing. Yeah,
That would be like as a second car, like for sure, would be a good car.
sweet little car. Yeah.
I mean, if you're a little bit shorter than 6 foot, it's probably a little bit more comfortable. And you're probably not going to want to go and get groceries in it, but hitting the canyons,
if
or
you keep
hitting
the
a
roof up.
hitting a track, yeah, with the roof up, I don't know whether I'd go in there. but
Wow. It only makes, I mean, it's small, and I don't know what the weight is, but 237 horsepower, 258 foot-pounds of torque.
Dude, it feels like
It
full
feels
100.
yeah. If
I,
it
remember
feels-
we went- I went for a ripping one at when there was an Alpha dealership before it immediately went out of business locally, and
Obviously.
I didn't get to drive because they were like, no one's allowed to drive it but the head
Oh,
tech.
I
and
remember-
the
I
head tech
remember
came out and was like, does somebody want to drive the 4C? Let's drive the 4C. And I was like,
Yeah.
Sweet.
Let's
And
fucking
he went
go.
for a rip, and I was just like,
Oh, wow.
holy shit, this thing's fast.
I know
man.
I know why it feels
So
very
light.
fast. It weighs 2,487
Holy
pounds.
yeah.
shit.
Holy.
yeah, and you put two big guys in there that weigh, 200 pounds each.
Two
and
big boys in there. That's what we were.
Yeah, but it
Just two big boys going for a cruise top up.
I remember borrowing it the first time and pulling it out of the drive and going like 20 feet and be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's quick.
This is the
For
one.
sure. Yeah, for sure. So
Lovely.
save up a little bit of cash and
Yeah, grab one.
Well, what would the
67.
I wonder if used ones are
Yeah,
cheap.
so I wonder what the used market looks
They must
like
be
on them.
yeah, that's what I was
disasters.
going to say, like 50, who knows?
I was hoping
I mean,
depreciation was better on it than that.
XZ should be great, right? Like you always say, Chuck, you buy one at 35 and sell it
For
a couple of years
35.
later at 35.
But I
Yeah,
think this is probably not as. I can't imagine it holds like that.
2018 for 59.
yeah.
Wow. But I mean,
2015 for
How many
44.
miles?
So that 2018 for 59 is 1,900 miles. 2015 with 10,000 miles, 45. 2017 with 1,300 miles. Jeez, these people don't drive these things. 50,
Well, it's an Italian car.
5,500 bucks. That's true.
I thought it'd be in like the mid 30s for like
no,
a,
and
No.
I
from
thought
what
I-
I understand, you can't do any work on it yourself. There's like 900 bolts to take the clamshell off the back.
Yeah.
Like even doing an oil change is supposed to be a
Like
nightmare.
there's no like the bonnet, as we say, the hood of the hood of the car.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. Like it's
You can't even
attached.
open it,
No, you
right?
can't open it.
yeah,
Oh yeah. I remember that now.
yeah. So there's
I remember Doug DeMero's video. You won't believe.
Guess what? It's terrible to work on.
Yeah.
So it is.
But definitely cool. But again, like, everyone always, wants to drive stick and everything, but
Sure
and
do.
I like driving stick, but then, you're sitting in traffic, you don't have to drive stick and you put it in dynamic and you're racing around like in the canyons, like you don't want to take your hand off the wheel to,
Yeah.
Right.
and the steering's really nice.
Yeah,
It's
go-karting
really tight.
around,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a full go-kart.
Wonderful.
So
What else do we have for callbacks? Anything?
One of our listeners who came to a little donut social
Jeez,
thing
yeah,
we
I was
had
gonna
Donut
say, you guys had a
social.
Donut social, yeah.
said that I'm always shitting on Nissan. Shouts to Kelvin.
Shouts to Kelvin. And he's right. Both you guys are Nissan.
I don't
Skyline.
remember shitting
You're
on
GTR
Nissan at
haters.
all.
No, I really like the GTR.
Yeah, I was saying I don't recall ever shitting on
R30
Nissan.
Five.
Well, yeah, the R35. I want to just experience one. I really just want.
Which he said he needs to take us for a ride because apparently we talk a ton of shit about him.
I mean, the things.
I don't recall it at
look,
all.
I'm going to be quite honest.
Yeah.
They got a stigma.
is that the Undertaker
The
coming in?
R35s have a stigma to them of that just like super tuner. Let's throw every fucking piece of body kit
Yeah.
we can on it.
It's not a stigma. It's great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like things a bit simpler.
Well,
And
he
that's-
wants to take you ladies for a ride.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna poop my slacks. I'm sure.
Which is fine. Yeah. I mean, plenty of fast cars been in, doesn't matter. But like, I don't ever recall saying anything negative. Actually,
I really, yeah. I
He
don't know.
recalls.
he recalls, but couldn't tell me what I said.
No.
So
I'm gonna need dates
Yeah.
in time for
Time
the
stamps,
podcast.
research.
no, but I recall being the one who had a little Nissan news that I was rather excited about that I wanted to share with the world.
Yeah, the
months before it came out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that 400.
That wasn't a GTR, though. That doesn't do the GTR any good.
Well, I mean, they haven't refreshed it in 40 years.
Young
so I mean,
Ben
what
loves
the fuck are you
it.
gonna do with it?
Oh, we do constantly talk about how it's the oldest car on the planet.
Yeah,
But that's
Yeah.
not shit. It's just the oldest car ever.
it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Wait a minute. What was the other oldest car ever that you said had been around for like
The
16
350Z?
years? No.
The fucking Altima.
No, there was something else.
The
It was the
Sentra?
same model. Was it the Nissan Xterra? What was it? Or something like
Oh,
that?
the Frontier. or-
Frontier.
yeah, the
something like
Frontier.
that. You said it'd been the same for 14 years.
Young Ben
Yeah.
loves the R35. He wants a ride.
Yeah, Kelvin gave you a taste of the sauce.
Yeah, I mean, I like. They just keep refining it and making it better, and more expensive, and
Come crawling back.
The
Shouts
thing
to
that-
Kelvin.
I mean, I just really.
I
Matter
still
of
don't know
fact,
what I said.
matter of fact,
Doesn't
I
matter.
looked
I don't
up.
either, buddy.
I
Yeah.
looked up renting one by Turo.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Not really many around here.
Obviously, not many around here. California,
Yeah,
tons of them.
different.
Oh,
yeah,
all over
yeah,
the place.
Tons of them.
yeah.
My,
There's two.
Almost
in
rented one in
Scituate.
Florida,
Yeah, there are.
Yep.
but like they wanted something crazy. It was like $1,800 for like the weekend. I was like,
jeez,
that's fucking
yeah.
For the weekend,
obnoxious.
that's a pretty good price.
I'm looking to get
fuck
in this.
that. I was in paying, about $600-700. I'll fucking figure it out.
I'm looking to get into this thing for the weekend for like $350.
That's a Honda Fit. It's just like,
Hey,
Dude,
hey,
just
don't
buy one, don't
compare.
pay for it.
Yeah, there you go.
Everybody
That's-
knows no
yeah.
money down.
Yeah.
3-month test
Um,
drive.
Yeah, I don't. No, I like Skyline. I like
Yeah.
Skylines a lot. I like.
It's not a Skyline.
You know what's weird
Yeah.
is right. That's true. That's true. I like the RB. What's the R35 is what the Q
VQ?
VQ.
Is it a VQ?
Yeah, it's
I
the
can't-
VQ.
It's the good VQ. It's
Yeah.
not the straight piped one.
So like
Yeah.
I love the RB. I don't know too much about the VQ other than make 1,000 horsepower with it and drag race people.
Yeah.
Yeah, make 1,000 horsepower with it for $600 or something.
Right. Right. Exactly.
so,
Fuck those things. Am I right, guys?
yeah, sweet call back to that.
Yeah. The donut meet went really well. We had a little donut. We suggested a little donut meet on the Boulevard in Providence.
Also known as Skyline Owners Club.
It turned out to the Nissan Skyline Owners Club at first. Pete Ransom made it there first, despite living like an hour and a half plus away, which was amazing. Big Seat was there.
Shouts to Pete's beard.
Oh my God.
Pete's got a beard.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
man.
Josh, you
Tremendous.
missed out, man.
Yeah, you
Oh,
missed
that's
out.
wonderful. I woke up and I'm just like really comfortable.
He looked like
right
the old wise
now.
man.
It's Father's Day.
Yeah.
Rans-
He like
Ransome
picked
Santa
up where you
Claus.
left off.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm jealous.
Yeah, thanks to everybody that came out. We had a lot of fun. I think everybody can agree it's nice to be around a group of people and talk with people as opposed to be on crazy social media and shit.
Right.
It was super cool to see everybody. Everybody that came out, shouts. We had more donuts than we ate. I'm pretty sure Toby left an entire box of donuts on a retaining wall.
A homeless man can come by and get it.
We had maybe 25 cars show up.
I say about, yeah.
We're going to have another one soon.
I was just gonna say that means that we can actually, and I think legally, we can actually start.
Yeah, some locals came by. I was like, hey, guys, what's up? Like,
Yeah.
just kind of doing
Sup?
We can start having these things. So we're gonna open up a bit of a speakeasy here pretty soon. And see what happens.
Yeah, I think July 1st we can have up to 150 people outside here.
Hey.
So,
Young Ben's gonna be out there with a counter.
yep. Young Ben's going to be out there with
Make
a
it
counter.
happen.
Little 10 fingers.
Little clicker, just,
We'll give him a notepad.
yeah.
But yeah, we had a lot of fun. We're gonna have more soon. It's really nice to do car stuff. We're gonna have a real event here, July.
Sometime.
Yeah. I'd like to say I will time it with the release of issue number 6, which may be possible
Okay.
later in July.
Yeah, well,
We'll
earlier in
see.
July we should probably do at least some kind of
Yeah.
morning bring your own donut thing.
Fireworks, just like
Yeah,
every
fireworks,
city
baby.
in the world. What else we got for callbacks?
Oh, man.
What do you got?
Young Ben last time told us that Ford is releasing the Bronco on OJ's birthday, and OJ was going to drive it out.
Yeah.
And I think that one viral video caused Ford to move it back a week. And now it is not coming out on OJ's birthday. And now literally Ford's best marketing they've had in decades flushed down the toilet.
Out the window.
OJ's still going to drive it out, though,
Yeah.
just not on his birthday. He was busy on his birthday.
Right.
But, yeah, they changed that. The internet took that and ran with it, which as they should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a bummer.
That was
Hopefully they
like-
still let the OJ edition come out.
Yeah, the white with it was maroon, I believe, interior.
Does it come with a pair of gloves?
Does it
Comes with a pair of gloves,
No.
absolutely.
One-
Young
Small.
Ben.
Yeah.
Young Ben.
Yeah, a little one-liner there, buddy.
Yeah,
I like
damn.
Bringing the comedic.
Wait a
heat.
minute, Ben. We've got a color on the sign here.
That's
What color
true.
we got?
Red.
All right. Why did we choose red today?
I felt lazy.
There we go. Felt lazy.
I was hoping you were going to say because it matches the blood of your enemies. However,
We'll take it. Felt
So-
lazy.
Red is a lazy color?
No, it's just easy because
Oh,
you
it
do
was
red all
just
the
the
time.
first one you thought of.
I was
Okay.
gonna, he's seen red because the other lights are on red.
You're gonna have to come into this room dark from now on.
Ben English is here. The Redcoats are coming. Come
Yeah.
on. Could have been easier.
Uh,
All
Could've
right,
went
well,
so many
maybe
ways.
next time.
So many ways.
last thing I got is Polo Parts arrived from Germany.
Polo parts arrived.
Super excited.
Holy shit.
Young Ben.
It took 114 days for these
You
parts.
could have actually sailed across.
I could have flown there, quarantined, got what I need to get.
You got to row.
You
flown
could've-
home.
You could have flown there, quarantined, gotten a job in the factory, made them,
Yeah.
flown back, quarantined. I mean,
Yeah. And it was missing parts.
Oh.
The box was like destroyed on the way over. It was as soon as I pulled up to the house, it was shrink wrapped, and I was like, "Well, that's never a good sign."
no, shrink wrap immediately is bad.
So I opened up the box. I got my little packing list. I'm going through everything, and then sure enough, and it wasn't even like, for example, like I ordered some e-brake cables. Like it's not even like they forgot one of the e-brake cables. Like that's inconsequential. I can figure it out. Like whatever. It was like a track rod end for the steering knuckle. So like
Very specific.
very
Very necessary
yeah,
to make
yeah,
the
yeah.
car work,
So
maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so a little cross-referencing of some parts, part numbers, figuring out that same part was also used on Audi 4000, Audi 80, and Audi 90s. Well, obviously we know there's a ton of those.
Well, there's
here.
lots of rust-free Audi 4000s
yeah,
locally. so
tons
you'll
of
be
those
fine.
here. So the car's not on the road, so the parts must be somewhere. So I found a gentleman in Texas, who had an eBay listing for the part, and it was like OEM, still in like the factory Audi box and everything like that. And I was like, okay, how many do you have? He's like 4. So I was like, okay, I'll just buy them all.
Yeah,
Like,
give me all those now.
So those are on the way
From Texas?
from Texas.
Dude, Texas is
Expected
tight.
to be here. What did it say? So it's 24th. It said 27th to the 30th. So
Excellent, man.
Excellent.
yeah,
That is excellent. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
just one step closer to waiting for more parts. So
Right. The next phase of parts that you
Yeah.
need.
The next
So-
wait.
And I've got a callback that isn't a callback at all, but kind of a callback to Joey Seeley from Emotion Engineering. I don't know if anyone saw, but him
Joey.
and Zwart are doing Pikes Peak.
yes,
Pikes Peak car
in a
again.
new 935. So you can check out. There's a little video of that pulling out.
Joey gets
that
it
thing's gonna
done.
be that thing's gonna be insane.
Yeah.
Where's this new video?
On his Instagram,
Okay.
Emotion Engineering, and then Jeff Zwart's is on there as well at Swart, I think.
And the
Zwart.
ZWART. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Zwart.
And then Road Scholars 1 is also, it's their car, I think. So
Sick.
that's going to be crazy.
That's going to be insanity. Yeah, I saw the video from Joey. He was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Joey's getting down.
When is Pikes Peak typically?
Not the winter.
Yeah.
But as
So I
accurately
was just
as I can
wondering
go
if
with that.
Yeah, I want to say like July maybe, but I could be totally wrong.
Young Ben, when's Pikes Peak?
I
I'm
think
just
it's
hoping.
July.
He thinks it's July.
Young Ben also hasn't made any notes yet. I'm watching him.
You get your eye on him. I can't see him. My back's to him, so it's like
He's using his mind.
yeah. This is-
Race date August 30th.
Oh, there
Oh.
you go, July.
Dead of July.
All right, here's the next question. How do I get out there?
What do you mean? Just fly a plane to
No, no,
Colorado
no,
Springs?
No. You can fly a plane, of course, but how do you become a part of this? How do I get involved?
Visit their
here?
website, ppihc.org, and then you can pick whether you're a competitor or a fan.
Competitor.
We can bring in the polo.
I'm gonna run.
I'm gonna jog
once that's established,
That would be a marathon, I
you
think.
you can accept the cookies, and then
All uphill.
go there, and it looks like you can start working on.
You just buy like a pass, or
buying-
can I get a
buying some-
corner? Can I work a corner?
Let's see.
You probably want to rent a Mustang or something if
Yeah.
you're going to run it.
Let's see.
We'll talk about rent Mustangs a little bit.
Oh, I know you will.
Race.
Race.
Yeah.
Probably have to go to the race.
Yep.
Lodging, about, waiver, and release.
No,
FanFest.
don't want any of that. We're
Yeah.
just trying to enter a rental car
Yeah.
with no safety equipment. What do we need to do?
There's got to be a class for that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely a
yeah.
rental,
Yeah,
no
rental
safety
class.
equipment
Yeah.
class.
Run what you brung.
Run what you brung.
Definitely no practice, and you are the last ones to go out.
What kind of
Yeah.
race license you got? Rhode Island?
Yeah.
It's got my name on it.
Compact
Class
car.
A?
I don't see where.
I'm good for
air brakes.
rather than waste.
Yeah, I'll have to figure this out on my own time.
Yeah, become a
Can't waste the
sponsor,
people's
But
time.
definitely,
We can sponsor it.
watching videos of guys go up there is insane
Oh, yeah.
because it's like cliff and then like certain doom on
Yeah.
the other side, and you're
Yep.
going fast.
I think one of the most impressive videos I saw was the IDR video.
Yeah.
And that was like, oh.
Because there's no,
Oh.
there's no. It's such a entertaining, edge of your seat video with no thrills. In other words, it's just pure fucking blistering speed.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what is happening?
I'm into it.
I got a call back. Could I please get a Panorama Turbo S Sport Turismo E-Hybrid?
Me
That is
too.
all. 671 horsepower in a wagon.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
I mean, I'm sure a dealership has one somewhere.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I
What's
need
the
a used
MSRP on one of those guys?
I think it's 180 grand or something.
I was gonna say 160, but yeah, I
Well,
think
Those things are balls to the walls.
What
I just,
actual,
just in
like,
case the public's forgotten, that Porsche
Yeah.
makes a wagon with
Absurd.
671 horsepower.
Yeah.
And you can put it in full electric mode and just cruise around London without paying the tax.
So what do you get for mileage out of something like that? Like it's
Miles per gallon?
no. Like
I was going to say,
full
it gets
electric.
like
per
40
miles?
miles a gallon.
Yeah, full electric mode. It can't be very much.
I'd imagine one or two
Yeah,
tops.
I figured probably
Something-
40 or 50.
Let's see. Hold on.
Yeah,
You said
something cool.
Sport Turismo.
Let me get you the full name. It's the
Yeah.
Bananarama Turbo S Sport Turismo E-Hybrid.
It starts at 187.
Oh,
Starts.
young
Wow.
Ben.
Panamera Turbo Sport Turismo. This is
192 top speed.
Turbo S. You don't want the Sport Turismo.
Right,
that's
right.
that's the
This is
shitty one.
just- Yeah, there's no thing on Porsche for the Turbo S.
The
How many
Sport.
miles? How many miles to get on base charge, young Ben? Out there earning that money. Oh,
Uh-oh.
we've reached a moment of silence.
Josh is looking it up. Ben's looking it up. So
It's a race to the end.
the interesting thing I find with some of these cars that are kind of like these hybrid versions, but they're like these not supercars, but like some kind of crazy car, is that their electric range is so small.
Mm-hmm.
But you think about it, it's all you need. You put around the town, like you said, get into London. You don't have to pay the tax.
Yep.
Listen,
right?
you just got to have a car that passes
The
and
capability.
doesn't get the tax.
What
Then you
happens?
just
if
run at 671 horsepower through London.
I was going
Nobody
to say,
gives
what
a shit.
happens when you get in, right?
What are they going to do? You're not paying. What are they
It's
going to
just-
listen?
Yeah, it's when you register the
I don't even know
car.
how it
If
works,
it's-
so that's
if it's
why-
a hybrid, then you don't have to pay
Some
tax. And also parking as well, like in London, is like $1 or the equivalent of $1 for like 3 minutes. And I think you have to pay the first 3 minutes,
Yeah.
and then the rest of the day is free. So like you have to pay for parking normally like on a metered space. You have to pay like
Yeah.
a pound, for
Yeah.
3 minutes. But with an electric car, you only have to pay the first 3 minutes to like register that it's your space, as it were, and then you don't have to pay.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you're driving around London, as my friend Pip does, who
Shout to
Go-
Pip.
Shout
Just
to
Pip.
Pip.
Pip, pip.
he has an i3,
Hooray.
which he has an i3, which I drove when I was there last time, and like tons of fun for shooting around. It's nippy and easy,
Yeah.
and if you're in the city, it's great. But
Oh, nippy. You use nippy entirely different than I
Nippy.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like cold nippy,
yeah.
like nippy,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bit
No, anyway,
nippy.
it's nippy, but if he goes down to the countryside and it's like you got to stop and then fill up with gas to get the generator to run to like charge the motor so that you can
Yeah.
keep driving. He said it's a nightmare, but
It's a
Panamera
nightmare to own, but he loves it.
Bananarama Turbo SE Hybrid Executive.
Oh, there's another trim level.
198 100.
Yeah, but is that thing black with gold dragons on it?
It can be whatever you want.
Yeah.
3.3 seconds, 0 to 60. As Ben said, 192 mile an hour top speed, 677 horsepowers.
Let's get that extra 6 horse.
Let's see. What do you want? Let's see. Motor.
I just wanted to know what like actual only electric range was.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think it's.
It's not
Yeah,
important.
it
I was
doesn't
just
say
curious.
that anywhere.
It doesn't say. Young Ben's in the deepest
Probably
part
not
of the
many.
internet.
20 to 40.
Yeah, I
maybe.
would say
Young Ben had
40.
the VPN into the Ultranet, and he still
Yeah.
can't find it.
The other callback would be Cybertruck is being
Cybertruck.
on display at the Peterson.
Really?
Until the 5th, yeah.
like the
Can anybody go to
Cybertruck?
Peterson then?
Or a
Well, you can't
Cybertruck.
go to
You could-
Peterson now.
You can buy tickets. I guess it's open because they got an email today saying about it, and it goes
Yeah.
till the 5th, and I'm back in LA on the 5th, so I'm going to try and swing by and do the old Peterson free entry pass and get and check it out.
That top secret entry. You
That
think
top
there's going to be
secret
the free entry if there's nobody there?
I mean, I think there'll be people there
Yeah.
because
So
everyone's being
It's just
quarantined
on
for 3
display
months
there.
and
You get to go take a look at it.
Yeah, I guess it's in the main place because
You
it
can
said
bring
you
a-
can
Like
you
a
can-
golf ball to throw at it or whatever he broke it with.
maybe it was
Steel
bat?
ball.
What was it?
A steel ball, I think, to throw
Was
at
it
the
a steel
ball.
ball?
I can't
It was
remember.
like a
I thought
little
it was a
steel
baseball
ball
or something.
No, a little steel ball because they where he said they messed up is they hit it with a sledgehammer first,
Oh.
which then took it off the track, which then
Allowed the
Allowed
steel
it to
ball
break.
to penetrate.
Interesting.
Interesting. Indeed.
Anyway,
Alright.
so yeah, I want to check that thing out.
Yeah.
I put my $100 in as soon as it came out. and
Yeah.
see
still
what
haven't
happens.
taken
still,
delivery.
still
Well,
waiting.
not till
huh?
2021, but I'm ready to go.
I've
Yeah.
seen there's a it's so annoying that they did this, but somebody simulated a 1.1 second 0 to 60
Yeah.
of the Roadster. It's just a simulated video that they made it.
The person's head came off.
Yeah, turned into strawberry jam.
No cab shots, no cabin shots,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But I mean, it's a video game.
Yeah.
It just looked like a video game. And if they
Two
could-
men turned into
it just
strawberry
kind
jam.
of shook it, and there was some fucking propulsion air exhaust that was shot out of the tailpipes or somewhere. Okay,
I've had
let's-
propulsive
I think
air.
there's a roller coaster at Orlando, whatever it's called, Universal Studios Orlando. That's like you shoot up and
Straight.
then go back and down, and it's like
Yep.
0 to 60 in 1 point something seconds,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
that's going to be what
Hulk.
it's equivalent
I think it's
to.
Hulk.
Yeah,
something. It's insane.
Hulk Hogan, the Hulk Hogan
Yeah,
coaster.
no, Hulk is in like the character.
I am the real American. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. So
Anyway, fast.
My last callback.
Yes.
Shout out to my favorite pizza place in Rhode Island, Figadini.
Figadini.
Went there last night. Amazing. And I just need the world to know that they have Nutella and strawberry calzone. And I just don't want to eat anything else ever again.
As hold
You
on.
can
as,
take it out.
As you were describing eating this thing, you said you ate it, and your car was across the street, and you couldn't make it to your car. Or
I was at the point of probably not making it over there, and I still had half left. Like I know there's half sitting in my kitchen right now, and I pray my kids haven't eaten it. 'Cause
I'm
I'm
having
trying,
someone I get back
I'm
there later.
trying to eat that. You better get back fast in that Toyota, boy.
yeah.
Because ain't gonna be shit left when I get home. I'll tell you what. I'm definitely booking there again. But shout to them. They're open. They get a couple tables outside. Next week open full away. Let's party. God damn.
I'm just not that big of a fan of Nutella.
How?
Neither am I.
How?
It's
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
just
know. It's a little too smooth for me. I don't know.
It's
I
pretty
just
good.
need to, like
It hurts to hear.
I like
to be honest.
I like my chocolate
It hurts to hear.
in condensed
bars.
form.
It's
Yeah.
not chocolate,
Yeah,
man. It's
yeah.
chocolate and hazelnut.
yeah.
Okay.
It's
Well, I'm
maybe
not-
it's the hazelnut.
Maybe
I'm not a
I was
fan
going
of.
to say because I'm
Oh,
not a
I see
huge
how
fan
it
of-
is.
fan
Yeah.
of hazelnut,
Yeah. I see how it is. That's all right.
French vanilla.
All right.
Now you're
French
talking.
vanilla? How you get a French vanilla calzone? We put fluff in
No,
it?
you don't.
Yeah.
you don't.
I mean, I guess you could.
Yeah, I guess maybe. Yeah.
But if you're around here, go there.
Arabica bean.
If you're
Pizza ain't
around
cheap,
here,
but man, it's
go
worth the
there.
money. Worth the
Yeah, best
upcharge.
pizza by
by
miles.
miles.
What's it again? Figadelli.
Figadini.
Figadini.
Figadelli.
Figadini. Shout out to my
Figadelli.
people.
Hey.
It's just the owners there right now. They're just the best people in the world. The place is fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
Shouts
awesome.
to Figadini.
And they do takeout now, which they usually refuse to do. So
Hey, times are tough. Gotta
the
think
times,
outside the box.
times they are changing.
Anything else for callbacks?
Nah.
Okay, let's cue the boys.
I always forget we're cranking it in 2020 until you turn that on. And they're like, all right,
Oh,
crank
yeah.
it in 2020.
Here we are. It's 2020. We're back.
So I was like, wee, my ears for the rest of the night.
it's like I just shot a 45 right in my ear.
It's fucking amazing. Got to crank it.
We were talking about, or briefly talking about,
Mhm.
manual transmissions a few minutes ago. Or we got into that, 4C comparison.
DMT.
Lack of manual.
Yeah.
Kia
Kia.
has
Kia.
a new intelligent manual transmission that
IMT.
retains driver engagement and enhances efficiency.
So it's a CVT.
New clutch-by-wire technology for future Kia mild hybrid models reduces CO2 emissions by around 3% in real-world driving conditions when paired with a 48-volt mild hybrid starter generator. In-gear coasting enables engine to switch off to save fuel, retains the familiar operation and driver engagement of a conventional manual transmission. IMT developed in Europe as a part of powertrain electrification program, fitted to SmartStream petrol and diesel eco-dynamics plus mild hybrids.
So you know when we talked about how will we ever be able to work on cars in the future?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a hard no.
No.
It's a hard no.
Also, it sounds like how you could make a manual transmission be not desirable anymore.
It's just like, where's the line?
Kia hasn't called us back, right?
What's the point?
No.
Yeah, no. What's the point of
Retains
Sounds
the
fucking terrible.
familiar operation and driver engagement.
familiar operation? Okay, I get that, but like,
How much?
How familiar?
How familiar? Right? Is it 3% like the
this
CO2
thing rub
emissions
my
it
shoulders?
saves?
How familiar is this guy going to get?
yeah, I don't know. It's I don't. I mean, if you want all that stuff there, I don't think the manual transmission's for you. It seems like you have a lot of stuff going on in your pros column. Like
a lot of pros.
a lot of pros,
Lot of
right? You
pros.
want to save the earth,
Trying to save 'em.
give a tree a hug,
I'm not running
which
cruises
is great.
anymore.
But like, I don't think you need a manual transmission. Like, you can just.
Do you want to know how it works?
Do
Yeah,
I
'cause
ever?
Because here's a step-by-step
How else
with
am I going to fix it?
bullet points. The driver leaves the car in gear as it starts to coast, gently slowing down the car, e.g. for a corner, junction, or traffic. While in gear, the IMT sends an electronic signal to the gearbox and MHSG to seamlessly switch off the engine and open the clutch. With the engine switched off, the car continues coasting with the open clutch, limiting deceleration and allowing the car to make the most of its kinetic energy.
Wait, so it turns the motor off when you put the clutch in?
Yeah.
So it's like driving with the clutch in.
As the driver
Freewheeling,
pushes the
basically.
accelerator to pick up speed or engages the clutch to change gear, the MHSG restarts the engine in the driver's selected gear or in neutral with an open clutch. Electric power from the MHSG and 48-volt battery instantly brings the engine and transmission up to the correct speed. If the car drops below a certain speed, the engine restarts with assistance from the MHEV system, and the clutch closes to avoid laboring the engine in the engaged gear.
So it has a clutch or it doesn't have a
Wait,
clutch? Like a foot clutch?
It says a
It
wire.
sounds like it's foot clutch, so it's still a foot, pedal is present. However, it's clutch by wire, so it's not a manual disengaging, engaging of said, clutch plate controlled by your foot. It just gives you that feel.
it's like you're just pressing an actuator.
Right.
Or not an on-off switch because that would be on-off, but a
sensitive.
S-
So,
right,
and that system's called the OTPHJ.
correct. Yes.
All right.
So I think it's the IMT, which I think I vaguely read said
Sounds
something
right.
about a few weeks ago, and I just said I didn't know what the fuck the IMT
One
was.
of the Toyota things we read about on the new Yaris had
IMT as
like
well.
an OTPHJ machine.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's
That's comfortable.
Let's the familiarity.
Quite comfortable.
That's comfortable.
I'm familiar with that as well.
Yeah,
the
it's like a submarine
familiarity.
strap.
The familiarity of a conventional manual transmission. Although the IMT introduces a new clutch-by-wire technology in place of the mechanical link between driver and transmission, it retains the same operation and driver engagement as a conventional manual.
But not feel.
That's the thing. There can't be any feel. It's going to feel like
And if you don't do it, it's just fine. It's just like
I'd
whatever.
assume it
Don't
just
press
right.
that
It
pedal.
just fixes itself. Let's see. The clutch pedal operates in the same manner as a conventional manual with greater controllability due to the electromechanical control of the clutch and biting point that enables drivers to change gears smoothly. You fucking Pac-Man.
God, that sounds boring.
Let's see. The upgrade. The IMT will be fitted to the upgraded Kia Rio. Everybody's fucking
Such a
fucking
dynamic
just
machine.
so excited.
Her name is Rio.
So excited.
And she
You on
dances
sale
in
in
the
Europe during third quarter of 2020.
Wait, we're not going to get it?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, this IMT drive-by-wire manual transmission is going to be harnessing the new 1-liter TGDI petrol mid-hybrid powertrain.
That sounds like it's really.
I mean, if you're gonna, you know,
strap a saddle to that 1 liter.
This seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, not a lot of.
Just put a CVT on it. Jesus.
Let's see.
That's boring.
The new transmission will be adopted across a number of future Kia models, with the brand set to introduce a range of new engines and MHEV powertrains later in 2020.
Wait till it hits the stinger.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I
Seems like a lot of work.
It seems.
Listener Kyle Greer said, "So you can't 5K clutched up this thing? I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm also out.
I'm guessing you can, but it'll be smart enough to not allow
To
you
not do what you want
to not do that. Right?
I mean, no, it doesn't have enough power. I mean, you try to 5K clutch jump a 1 liter
1 liter.
non-turbo motor. It's just gonna be like, all right, I'm off.
They're-
Oh no, you're not
And
even
just
gonna get
immediate
that.
stall.
yeah.
That's boring.
You want to talk about something actually fast?
I was gonna try. I think I was gonna try to get an update out of Young Ben, but
Oh, no. Let's get an update on him. Speaking of actually fast.
Is he sleeping?
no, he's good.
Oh,
He told me
okay.
a terrible story about one of his friends, but he probably doesn't want to tell it on the radio.
Okay.
Probably not.
Okay. Anyways,
Fair
DM
enough.
me.
Yeah, I'll tell you that.
Damn me. Oh, but you guys didn't even hear the story. It's
No,
fucking
no, I didn't.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
Ben will have
no.
to tell me later.
I
It
heard
involves
you.
accelerant.
I was gonna. I was gonna say. I heard you ask if it was the homeless one. That's all I heard.
Was it? It was not the homeless one.
No.
Well, that's good. At least
Well,
get a home
not,
to rest
not
up
at,
in.
not at first, but after this story, who knows?
Oh my God, he's Jeez, might never see home. Fucking brilliant, brilliant mind. What do you got?
Who saw the R32 GTI break the quarter mile record?
I didn't
for
see that.
6.47
Holy
seconds in a
shit.
quarter mile.
647 and R32.
647.
Woo!
Golf R30.
No.
Oh right. Okay.
No.
Okay. Wait, R32. What?
Yeah.
Do you say
GTR.
GTI or GTR?
GTR.
I was gonna
that
say, at
makes
first
way
you
more
said
sense.
GTI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said GTI.
Oh,
yeah,
my bad.
Yeah,
GTI.
that's why I was like,
GTR.
whoa. Oh,
So
that was just expected. The
Is
white
it-
one, right?
Was it Motive DVDs?
White or silver?
Not that I know of.
Motive videos?
So
Australian?
crossed the line at 219.94.
Woo, baby!
So 220 miles an hour in a quarter
Quarter mile.
mile. Yeah. So he beat the record set last year by an R35 GTR.
Really?
Yeah.
R32's repping.
I feel like that's got to be that 1.10 to 60 to be able to go
Oh,
that far.
right.
that's going to
yeah,
be a
I
1.10 to face off.
Yeah.
So I looked for the slip to get. Usually they take a picture of the slip or
Yeah.
something, and I
Yeah.
couldn't find a picture of the slip because that would give you your.
calling this
60-foot
guy
time.
out.
Yeah.
No. I wanted to know with the 60-foot time exactly what he said. Because, like,
Jesus. It was a white one. It wasn't Motive. Motive had he held the record for R32 for a while.
yeah.
Not anymore.
And I remember like 1320 did a video on the R35 that set the record last year with it was like 100 psi.
That was like the Alpha Omega.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the white one.
The guy from he was from Jersey or something.
The bald one.
Yeah, the bald guy.
Dude. Yeah.
That
big,
guy's fucking hilarious, actually.
The short, muscular bald dude.
Shout to that guy.
Great driver.
Josh, you got a little
Good
clip
driver.
of it there?
Yeah. I don't
Good
know.
driver. It's an
Play it.
automatic. I mean,
Actually,
you just
no,
hit the
my-
button.
Yeah,
right?
see if you turn the volume down, you'll be able to see kind of what the absurdity is.
So it's an R32. It's white.
Black with like a
This
white
is
bumper.
not white.
Oh my god.
Young Ben coming in the shot to check this thing out. Come on up, Young Ben. You're allowed in.
It just disappears.
Yeah, yeah.
disappears into the rest of the drag strip.
I thought that was quite impressive. If you
Why did
think
he do a
about
6 what?
6.47.
And he's beating R35s?
Yeah, 6.47.
Oh, man, Kevin's got to do better.
This is me. See, I'm not talking shit about Nissan here, right?
I mean, I think that was you talking shit about R35s.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, right. So it seems like R32 is the play.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I wonder if he had a PPG in that thing.
This doesn't really. Yeah,
Just
this,
a ding,
this
ding,
little
ding.
thing
Yeah.
doesn't get into any of this.
Was that in America?
That's
No.
the biggest issue is that,
That
there
was in
wasn't
Australia,
a lot of
right?
specifics on it.
Is it in Australia?
This
Is everything
looks
upside down?
like- the video is upside down.
Shout out to being flat. I know you're in the chat, buddy.
Registered at the Sydney Dragway. So
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I'm
always Australia. Those guys are always pushing it, man.
pretty
Those
sure,
guys are animals.
unless that's Sydney, Massachusetts. Not,
Yeah.
Could be
not
Sydney,
quite sure.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, could be.
Beautiful Sydney, Massachusetts.
Landscape of Kings.
No,
Pretty crazy.
If you're pushing R32s, you're in Australia.
Yeah.
Those guys get it done.
I think Australia just gets skylines. Like
yeah.
that whole scene.
And
They have there's a gigantic skyline. I forgot what it's called.
That was
But there's
6 seconds.
That
Like-
huge skyline fest.
You're like the SAU forum. That's like
Yeah.
where all the knowledge exists.
Yeah, it's quite
Sick.
quite the skyline scene out there.
Big scene. It was like our donut meet.
Yeah.
Except more than 4. I'm down with that. I like that.
Sweet. Thought you would.
I'm glad you brought it up.
What else you got?
Oh, I got a good piece of news for us.
Little piece.
Tesla?
Yeah. Nope.
Oh, okay.
You know, Volkswagen makes the Passation shooting brake.
The Arteon.
Arteon.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes,
Passation. So the shooting brake is coming out. It looks fancy.
Yep.
But we're not going to get
Not
it. We're going to
coming
get the Passation sedan.
Yeah.
And
So
I feel sad for the dozen people that might have been interested in buying the Passation shooting
I
brake.
was talking to the wife about it yesterday.
And Josh.
So, yeah, a couple years, maybe we get one of those.
There you go.
Never mind, we're not.
scratch that.
Maybe it's out.
Yeah,
Scratch that. I think an all-track would fit the family nicely.
they stopped making those too.
We'll
Son
get a
of-
used one. Boom.
Son
Sport
of a
wagon,
bitch.
like they're. I don't know the market for them, but sport wagon, like all that stuff, I'd be down for. But
Gotta go BMW GT.
Yeah.
It's the only play.
I'm Bananarama,
Gotta go Bananarama.
Yeah.
But
Turbo
yeah,
Sport,
Bananarama.
e-commerce.
Bananarama camera car. That's what we need.
so we're not getting the Passation shooting brake. We're getting
No.
the new Passation, not that anyone will notice.
And they made a bunch of different variants: the SE, SEL, SELR, and then there's like a SEL. There's an I don't know if it's an actual R, but
R
R
line.
line based
Yeah.
stuff. And the shooting brake version of that just looks the business, if you will.
the business.
So the one we're getting, is it a sedan or is it the same like lift back hatchy thing?
It's the
That,
same thing.
Liftback.
The liftback
okay.
hatching
Yeah.
thing.
so you're just getting the same thing again.
Wow, that's new.
Facelift.
Oh, facelift. Oh,
Yeah, I
Right.
think it's all new, but no one will ever know.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've
What's this
I've
called?
only seen one.
Revised.
Revised. Okay.
Revised saloon.
That's a per my last email.
On first line of said article. On the outside, the 2021 Arteon's changes are subtle. So
On the
Mi-
inside,
there we go.
Minimal at best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the inside, totally unnoticeable.
I like
Ah.
I like to keep things simple. So simple you can't even tell.
So that's good.
Yeah,
So
Speaking
no
of-
reason for all you Passation guys
Yeah.
to upgrade.
it's a
Yeah,
shame.
don't get all worked up.
Yeah, nice buy.
Speaking of American cars,
America.
Volkswagen, you know. So the AMI, the American Made Index, named the Ford Ranger the most American made car, right?
Yes.
Come on, man.
Oh, it
Oh,
disconnected.
come on.
God
All right.
damn you, iPad.
All right, well, you continue with that. Oh, beautiful.
There we go.
So,
We'll just edit that.
So American.
So the AMI, American Made Index, named the Ford Ranger the most American made car, right? So it's Ford. Behind that is FCA with the Jeep Cherokee. Tesla
You
has
mean
3 cars.
F stands for Fiat.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Tesla has 3 cars on the top 10 list. 3
Yeah.
cars. Pretty fucking cool.
How many cars do they make? 3 cars.
3 cars.
No. So what does that tell you?
All of their cars.
They're
are
all
there.
on there.
3 XY. No, this one.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
this
yeah,
up
the
there.
Y just came out. Right.
So out of 350 available cars on the market in 2020, 91 were eligible for this thing they
American
break
Made
down.
Index?
Yeah. So it's based on 5 different factors: the assembly location,
Mm-hmm.
part sourcing, so where they get all their stuff from, U.S. factory employment relative to vehicle production,
Mhm.
engine, and then transmission.
Oh, there we go.
So seeing the Ranger was cool, but then seeing the Tesla up there was cool as well because people have still yet to realize that it's an American-made car.
Yeah.
This
People
kinda-
want Teslas.
This is a good segue into another bit of news I had where, you know, you're going to have certain people who argue it. However, you have some people, and this is brought to you by InsideEVs.com is
Oh
where
boy.
I pulled this info.
Tesla Roddy.
Jay Leno reviews Tesla Model Y, finds nothing to criticize about. He also thinks hate against Tesla and EVs in general is not really founded, especially since they are getting better and better.
Oh, it's
And this
founded by
is
the oil company. That's what it's founded
And
by.
this is coming from one of the biggest gearheads in the world.
Yeah.
So it's just like, how can you continue to argue?
I just read J.D. Power and Associates said that one of the Teslas is just a total pile of shit. So
Didn't they also put like the Dodge Ram up at the top recently?
I didn't want to get into.
I don't
it.
really even
Yeah.
follow what the JD Power thing is because I'm not totally convinced it's not just a pay your way through.
I was going to
It's
say
100%
it
Yeah.
may or may not have something to do with how big your budget is.
Yeah. It's interesting to me.
Yeah.
How a lot of these things work sometimes. Little transparency, you know? Like how does it actually work? You know, how do you come
Yeah,
to your
exactly.
conclusion?
Right. Give us
Where
the
show
data.
us your findings.
Right.
Let's
Right.
let's see your market research.
If it's obviously if it's independent, then you're like, oh, okay, this is legit.
Yeah.
You know, but if it's a huge company. Like someone's paying someone something.
Yeah.
To get.
There's a payroll there.
Yeah, that's
There's
why
overhead.
whatever car it is that wins the JD Power survey every year for the last 10 years is like they're doing something.
Yeah,
So-
it was like an Elantra one like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Something. Well,
So-
that's not right.
Yeah, right.
just from DetroitNews.com, Dodge and Kia. Hey, you gotta go.
How is that a website?
Go right to the source.
Yeah, that's like Corvette Man or whatever it
Buy
was.
a house for $100.
Yeah.
Dodge and Kia tied for highest ranking in new car quality. I can't even say that without laughing.
Dodge?
I can
Dodge
imagine
and Kia.
Kia maybe because they're probably making everything really nice and
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
like
but
you
Dodge
guys
is
but
that's
but
literally
Dodge is
impossible.
doing-
And
yeah.
Dodge, some of the worst interiors I've ever seen.
You just bought a new Dodge, right, Chuck? And that
Yes.
thing's probably trashed already, and it's a year old, and you've done 100 miles
Listen.
on it.
It's
Hold on,
harassing me a little
that's
bit.
drove
That's
all of
Corey's
those miles.
favorite car.
That is a thing of beauty. It's got 1,400 miles on it. She's perfect.
Yeah.
Literally perfect.
The
Didn't,
interior has a classic feel to it.
Yeah.
I also
Timeless.
feel like if you just never drove that thing, the interior would disintegrate anyway.
It might.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So Dodge and Kia tied for highest ranking in-car new quality among all car
There's
brands
just no
in
way that's
JD
possible.
How do they
Power-
rate this?
JD Power's 2020 U.S. initial quality study, while Chevy ranked number 2. Oh my God! How?
Yeah.
Like
What is there? So
They
at least
tested
when
those
I
3
read,
cars.
yeah, at least when I read, okay, how does the AMI do it? This is the 5 things they based on. Okay, now we know how they figure out their listing, right?
okay?
Do they
so,
list anything about how they come to a
Yeah.
conclusion?
So it was the first time a domestic brand topped the scorecard and was the best ever overall showing for Detroit's automakers, who had 7 brands that performed better than the overall industry average score, which
Also
is
impossible.
based on the number of problems reported by new car owners per 100 vehicles.
Oh, so if you have a super outdated interior, you're not going to have problems because you worked them all out already.
you worked out all the kinks.
You would
Right.
think, or
Well, we talked about this.
Also,
with,
people who renting rental cars probably aren't complaining. So all of the US-made cars are all rental cars.
yeah,
People don't.
And my Ram's got a 3-inch non-touchscreen. Haven't had a problem with it yet.
it's definitely
or-
touchscreen.
Is it really?
Yeah, 100%.
or
Wow, 3-inch
It's
touchscreen.
responsiveness is a little,
if it's
Slow.
per
yeah.
It's like an old like.
little
But when you touch it, it says something. It
Bit-
does something.
bit lackadaisical.
Yeah.
This
goes
is per
boop.
100 vehicles. So if you only sell 200, there's only 2 people who are
No,
going to complain.
this is what we talked about when we had Jordan Salvatore on. Shouts
Yes.
to
Big
Jordan
shout.
and crew.
Well, Jordan, we're going to try to get him back on the show pretty soon to discuss the whole
His hole?
whatever the whole. We'll discuss the whole.
No.
What's that show called?
Street Outlaws Memphis.
Street
Yep.
Outlaws.
Yeah, that finally aired, and I think they're going to be making a trip back out there.
They
were-
certainly
were
are, and he
invited-
started building another badass.
They're bringing the
car.
heat?
They were invited to
The heat's an
go
understatement for
go
what they're building. Yeah.
partake. So we'd like to talk to him about how, why, what was shown on TV, what was real, et cetera, et cetera. So we will talk to him soon.
So he said, when I brought this up, when he was on the podcast, he said that a lot of these problems that they say are per 100, he said it could be someone coming in, and it'll be like my center armrest like creaks when I go over a bump, and like boom, that counts as something.
So there's no way Dodge won.
Yeah, so it's just like he
I
says
mean-
it's so much of it is
Yeah,
I forget
dumb
the
bullshit.
way he said it. He said so much of it is dumb bullshit, and he said a lot of it is it's not mechanical anymore. All of it's electronic. All of
Right,
it's
because they
like,
can't figure out the maps.
yeah.
The annual study measures the number of problems experienced during the first 90 days of ownership of 2020 vehicles. And for reference, take this with a grain of salt. Jeep clocked in at number 11, while Cadillac ranked 14th.
You know what? A little homework for myself. I'm going to go back, listen to that episode, because he covered this fantastically. And he kind of explained the whole thing and how that's skewed based on like what you actually get in like, oh, I typed in an address and it delivered, it brought me to 2 houses down instead
Right.
of that. And somehow that's a fucking, in his case, he worked for Honda, I believe, right? He was like, oh, that's Honda's
Mhm.
problem now.
So, just as to Chuck's earlier statement, Mark Champine, head of quality for FCA North America, and I quote,
Shouts to Mark.
There's no fucking way this is real.
One thing I can say, one thing I can say is you don't make improvements without some very specific effort. He said, "We've been working on improvements for a very long time."
So we just don't make improvements.
Yeah.
No,
We're still
like
waiting.
you said, this started one way and they kept doing it, and somehow 15 years later,
Thing's perfect.
we nailed it.
Shit is perfect.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Good
very
to know.
interesting.
Good to know.
Yep.
I saw on the internet that Apple has an app for the phone that's a car key.
Oh.
Wait, who in the what?
On the new Apple iOS,
Mm-hmm.
there's an app called Car Key, and it's going to let you like start and unlock your car.
Interesting. Okay.
So it like maps your clicker that you have on your existing car.
I don't know. I didn't get that deep into it. Just
What's
seemed
interesting
crazy.
is I watched Marquez's whole video about it, and he didn't mention that.
Well,
That's interesting.
Marquez is
Okay.
going to get his head in the game.
I think he's probably got his
Ben,
head completely in the game.
Look up this Apple Car Key thing when you're done Snapchatting over there.
What he did
I was looking at a full
Bolt on.
tube
FBO.
Steak?
no 180 right hand drive. That's no body, full tube car.
You
No
don't want
body
that.
for sale?
Yeah, on Facebook.
You put up some money
How
on
much?
that?
How much?
How much money do they want?
He wants offers between $8,000 and $20,000.
So-
Eight.
Well, then you go in at 8 immediately.
Well, you got a 4.
I wouldn't go in an 8. I go in at like 2.5.
No, but it's the
the fucking
silliest
thing doesn't
shit.
even have a body.
That's the silliest shit.
It's like a wheelchair with an S14 with a
I'll
freaking
take offers
SR in
between
it.
$8,000 and $20,000.
Yeah.
Who's gonna show? I'll pay the 20.
Who
Yeah.
sets their bottom number?
Right.
You never have a
Right. Why
bottom
would you do-
number.
That is not how the Chuck system
You
works.
never
at all.
bottom.
Yeah.
And also, are you looking
Always
at
top in the truck
Always
system.
tough.
Power Top?
Yeah.
Power Top. Are you
Power
looking that up as you're taking notes?
Yeah, as he's taking notes. Apple
Okay.
Car Key, young Ben. What do we know
Yeah.
about it?
What he did mention
Uh,
is that Apple will start offering allowance to third-party apps, so that now your Tesla stuff can now work
it's to
integrated.
BMW customers only.
Oh, to BMW customers only.
I wonder if there's a
Interesting.
service charge.
Hold
for
on,
that, like,
wait,
It
isn't there-
definitely is a monthly fee.
I was going to say, isn't there a joke in there somewhere? Oh, wait, they made it free to everybody. Right, that's not an extra anymore.
Yeah.
You just have to buy the iPhone.
BMW giveth, BMW taketh away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In most
Interesting.
cases, just taketh.
Yeah, it'll be supported after July 1st.
On all BMWs?
So it's going to work on my
a
E36?
wide range of its vehicles.
So my E30.
That's,
Can you pen a letter to BMW for
Yeah,
me?
yeah.
Ask if it will support my 1989 M3,
Yeah.
please.
just A, how do I make this work?
Right. B, how late back you supporting?
Do I need power locks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do I need locks in
Exactly.
general?
If I pay the subscription, can it work on my E30?
My
Man.
battery's dead. Will this help it? What else do we have?
I have Ford fucking up.
Oh man, you know what's weird? I got into this stupid stock app and I'm just losing money all over the place. And I bought Ford and it's just every dollar Tesla makes me, Ford loses me.
Right?
I'm just
I
getting
told you.
fucking
Hold on.
Devastated by Ford.
What app is this?
Robinhood.
Robinhood,
Yeah.
My
okay.
sister was like, "Oh, I just got on Robinhood. I'm doing some stuff." I was like, "Oh, cool." She made like this initial investment of like $80. It was like she bought JetBlue. It was like $10. It's like, all right, I'll take $700 at JetBlue. Go on. I think
it's
I'm gonna
not the
disband as a
time for
company
travel.
tomorrow.
I literally told you that I put money into Ford and I'm fucking losing money every
Dude,
single
I'm
day.
getting fucking hammered by Ford.
Why
Well,
would
that's
you go
good.
do that?
You gotta watch.
Because it was so cheap.
You gotta watch Davey Day Trader and figure out the secrets.
Did you watch like the 3 month trend of it just nosediving?
It was like $6. I was like, well, looks like
Yeah.
I'm getting in at $6.
Well, this isn't gonna help.
JetBlue's killing me, and then I'm looking at BMW. I got to buy that soon.
You looking at BMW?
BMW's only like $20.89 a share right now.
Right, but if it's going down,
It's going down forever.
it's not a good deal.
Well, until they come out with the next i8,
Listen, baby, I'm just staying in it. You know what I mean? I'm staying in it.
holding strong.
I mean,
Hold on.
eventually, I guess it'll come around, right?
Yeah. You can always keep putting money in.
You know what I
right?
figure? I'm just buying companies that governments won't let fail. Like, I mean, Lufthansa, German government will never let that fail.
Yeah.
Ford, American government will never let that fail. Just buy. It's like buying government bonds, baby.
Yeah. It's like GM. You got to get on GM.
I'm making money hand over fist. My initial $700 investment's worth like $550 now.
Yeah.
That's losing money out of a fist.
Well, this isn't gonna help.
Spending $50 a day on Ford stock.
So Ford is marking up the Mustang Mach-E.
Oh, fuck me.
Marking it up.
Marking it up. So they're putting what's that word that we call
Dealer markup for a car
dealer
nobody
markup.
wants.
Thank you. Dealer markup on cars that have sold out that customers have paid for. Well, not paid for. Put down their down payment, and now they're being told that
They're
there's
dealer marking up a pre-order?
a pre-order.
Oh,
So now they're
God
being
damn
told
it.
the MSRP is going to be, in some places, 5 to 15 over that.
Holy shit.
So now, what do we got going on here?
English Ben, he's going pee, baby.
Oh, all right, he's gonna go pee-pee. Okay,
He's going to go pee-pee.
all right. So I mean Ford. All right, I had my enormous.
I wish you told this to me 2 days ago.
I told you I was losing. I was literally bleeding money.
The stock is just called F.
Yeah,
Yeah, now I know why.
effed.
Getting effed.
So Ford comes out with this Mach-E, right? And it's they call it a Mustang.
The Mach-E Mark.
So, and I obviously have an enormous gripe with that. So we discussed that. I get over it. My butt's healed.
Mm-hmm. So
Everything.
you buy all the Ford stock you can.
And so I bought Ford stock,
Hunker
obviously.
down.
So now they come out, they put out the specs of it. Okay, specs actually looking pretty good, like pretty reasonable. The car doesn't look that terrible. You know, this could be something. They could kind of be on their way to figuring something out, right? Then they say, okay, we're only going to sell so many the first year. They sell out. Okay, if that's legitimate and they actually sold out, that's great.
Well, they only offered 200.
50,000.
No shit.
So, all right, well, it looks like they're doing pretty good, which is why I put money into Ford, right? And then now, like, people who have put that down payment who are waiting for their allocations of them.
Fuck that. Back out.
Yeah. So now it's like, why are you doing that? Why?
Right.
You had a chance. You had
Did they?
allegedly 50,000 vehicles able to hit the market right away.
So that's what I was going to ask is, did they go, uh-oh, we can't produce the vehicle for this much, just like Porsche?
Oh,
I don't know. I
call.
think it's because it's dealer markups. I think dealers are seeing, holy shit, they actually sold this many,
Right.
and they're not making any more
Right. So
for X amount of time. We can
charge a premium.
put a
or
premium on it.
Premium that premium.
Yeah.
I think
bullshit.
buying stock in car companies is the new hilarious thing to do at Revival Motoring.
I've got Volkswagen as well, which is
Dude, I wouldn't fuck up that bad.
Well,
if you bought it at the bottom of Dieselgate, you'd probably be Johnny Rich Pants right
I'd
now.
have
You probably
75 cents more a
You probably
share.
buy it 5, make 550.
So Ford, I mean, for fuck's sake,
Come on, guys.
I try and defend Ford.
Keep it together.
You know the thing,
I can't do it.
and the thing is, like I was,
Can't do it
What
anymore.
man can't carry all this weight?
I was taking a deep dive, looking into my soul the other day,
Get the Robinhood app.
The
and
soul hole.
I was trying
Join
to.
the boys.
I came to the realization,
soul
like,
hole.
wow, I'm a Ford guy.
Yeah, you got to pay the troll toll.
Yeah.
'Cause, like,
Get on this boy's soul.
I was daydreaming.
I tried lightly.
So it just dawned on me that I'm like, wow, you know, if I like won a lot of money, or the few first cars, like obviously M3s and M
Yeah.
cars, but like for daily stuff, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a Raptor, and I'm gonna get a Fiesta, and then like
What's wrong with you?
there's some
350R?
other stuff- like there was some.
How much money did you win? $20,000?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
I don't know, but
You get
those
a
would
tax
be,
return?
those
What
would, be
happened?
those would be a couple of the things that I picked up first, just to have. I just like to have them.
You
I
go
don't know
Otherwise,
why.
you go
Charles
6
Bentley.
by 6 over Raptor for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of Ford Mustang stuff, Tonga. aka
Tonga.
Tony,
Oh,
Tony
wait.
Smith.
How do you spell that? 'Cause there was an update.
T-O-G-N-A.
But there was an update.
No,
Remember
there's
that
a new way to
update?
spell it.
Yeah,
What's the update?
like P
It starts with a P.
T-P-H-O-N. I can't remember. Hold on. Let me.
That's
find
too
this.
much for
As
me.
you're
What's up with Tonga here?
He sends me a 93 Cobra SVT, obviously Fox body,
Woo!
for sale with 160 miles on it, which he says
160?
160.
Oh,
You'd
that-
be the honorary king of Fall River. Nobody needs both kidneys, Corey. Just do it.
Nobody needs both kidneys.
I don't.
You can fucking wear a
Full
colostomy.
River's got
what
some
is
nice
that-
property.
Is that dialysis?
Just wear
What
a
is
bag.
that?
Yeah, it's
Also,
not great.
for reference, you can also spell Tony P-T-O-U-G-H-N-E-I-G-H.
Yeah, Tony.
Tony.
That's the formal, I
Silent
think.
P. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the going out Tony.
So I mean, man, come on, Ford.
Come on, Ford.
Yeah.
How's Dodge stock?
I don't know.
I don't think it's on the stock
How's
exchange.
FCA?
buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think.
It's not publicly traded.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, the bigger problem with this whole article
Took it off the market.
is that half the article is about the markup, and then half the article is about whoever wrote it. This person's gripe with the fact that they state no one should be able to leave the dealership paying a different price than the last person. Everybody should be paying the same
Who
price.
said that?
Oh, fuck that.
Actually, you know what? Let's decide what I'm right. Hold on, give me
Yeah.
a second. It is
Where's it from as well?
electric.co. E-L-E-C-T-R-E-K.
That's not even a U.S.
.co.
website, right?
I don't
Oh,
know,
no,
but
no,
get
no,
your
no,
shit
no,
together.
yeah.
That's called the game of life. Some
That
people
was
get fucked. Some people get it done.
That's the thing. You
That
gotta
was
go
written
in
by
there.
Fred Lambert.
Oh,
Fred.
Freddie Lambert.
Freddie. Let me introduce you to the episode.
He is the editor-in-chief. I probably shouldn't go as deep. Never mind.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
But,
fine.
Uh,
Freddie, if you want to come on the show, it's called the Chuck System.
Yeah,
Let's
it's a
have
car
let's
dealership,
have
not a
talk.
car store.
if you paid less, it means you wanted it more.
Yeah, you wanted them more. Remember when Elon said he was...
We should have. That's gonna be the fucking slogan for our
Yeah.
dealership.
Yeah.
Right on the side. If you
You paid less, you
What
wanted
the
them
fuck?
more.
Yeah. I mean, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this
yeah,
works.
yeah.
Boys, do you remember when Elon got in trouble with the FCC
For weed?
No, for wanting to take Tesla private for $4.20 a share?
Yes, yes.
If he had done that, the company that had bought all that stock would have made so much goddamn money.
Right.
Next
Yeah.
time he does that, I'm in.
They'd have almost
420?
tripled.
You
right?
you can get a vote of confidence in there.
Yeah, I'll exercise my voting rights.
So-
I'm going to sell all my Ford stock and buy 16th of a share of Tesla.
I was like, yeah, if you can even do that.
No, you can't.
All right. Yeah, that's Ford. Come on, man. The fuck?
You know what else is a letdown? One of the greats, I think we should have a moment of silence. The Toyota Yaris is going away in the United States in 2021.
You know,
Going
Great
not
car.
forgotten.
Oh, wrong trumpet.
I actually quite like the Yaris. I like the Toyota smaller cars, the Corolla, which I
Yeah.
spoke about many times, the Yaris.
Yeah.
It's going, man. And you know what that means?
RIP TMP.
Another stick shift going from the market.
Because
Ooh.
it was available in
Another
stick shift.
real stick.
Hold on. You know what that means? Another Supra coming to market. Is that a third
Yeah.
one?
Maybe, but that's the
Maybe
end of
Another
it.
IMT coming to market.
I mean, if they're bringing the hatch Corolla, I mean, it's way bigger. So, I know, tough to hear. I like Yaris's.
I do too. There was a
I mean,
Yaris.
if they didn't make a fit, I get a Yaris every time.
There was a there was a guy who worked at the old camera store I used to go to that took a you know what you can wind something up.
Yep.
He put one of those on the back of his Yaris.
Looks like a big wind-up mouse.
Big wind-up mouse.
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That
yeah.
must have really got it done with the ladies.
Comedy ensued like Carrot Top.
Yeah. Did you tell him you were
Jesus.
laughing at him, not with him?
I didn't let him know that. He was a
All
nice
right.
guy. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
listen, we all have different ways. Love finds it.
Or winds it up and loses
Or
it.
winds
I
it
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What does wife think?
A good question.
Wife?
She's a proud woman.
Bit optimistic there, aren't you?
yeah, buddy.
Ben,
Why-
what do you got for news over there?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of.
Tell us,
New
give us
stuff.
something from California.
Well,
What's
yeah.
going on?
What's the haps on LA right now?
I mean, traffic's back. So
Yeah.
it was pretty nice for a while. Like normally when you look on Apple Maps, as I do, and you guys wouldn't do, wherever you're going, everything's red or orange. But it was green forever. Like you could drive anywhere. Last when I spoke to you guys, we drove like half an hour away to go and do something which would have normally taken an hour, and it was great. But now it's definitely getting back again. But yeah, I mean, it's still not as bad as it usually is, but
It's getting there.
also people aren't really going anywhere. Like unless you're like a lot of people still aren't working, so that's about it. I'm just trying to think.
Have they removed the sand from the skate parks yet?
Yep, that's 100% gone.
That's good.
I think I was
so
going
yeah.
like the next day with a bunch
Because
of buckets and skate kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
skate kids did it.
They worked
So-
like
well,
real
like,
hard.
Yeah, all the boardwalks open again, so everyone in Venice is cruising around doing
Yeah.
whatever,
Asking for cash.
asking for cash. And
Yeah, they never had to leave.
whatever.
Young Ben, did you prepare anything for today's news segment?
I did not.
My man.
Ben, I appreciate the effort, bud.
Solid. What,
Keep coming in. Just a
way to get
Come
way to get yourself in the main room.
He's graduated. He doesn't have to do his extracurricular stuff anymore. He's done.
I know.
I was surprised.
Yeah,
to
I
even see him here.
graduated
Right, but this was
13 years ago. Like,
this isn't your class project.
Yeah.
You know? This
Yeah.
isn't your
Ben's
graduation.
just
maybe it
holding it down.
was. Maybe it was.
Maybe it was.
Ben does it for the fame. We have literally dozens of listeners.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as he gives us 1 minute of golden content at the end of this
He
thing.
does. He
Fair
does.
enough.
If he
And
could
pi-
only
and
tell the
picks
story.
one color.
Yeah, yeah.
I got one. Jesse Combs,
Yes.
who passed away a year
Last
ago
year?
now? Last year?
August 2019, I believe.
So she was awarded the land speed record by Guinness for the ladies with 531.889 miles an hour. So that's official.
Damn.
Fastest woman in the world. Rest in peace. She went out doing the raddest shit possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's an average between one of them was like 547. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was fast. So, yeah, that was given to her by Guinness. So, that's cool to see.
Yeah, good. And that
Go out
record,
setting records. I mean, what else can you ask
I
for,
was going to
man?
say that record stood,
Nothing else.
stood since 1976.
Right.
Damn.
So it's not like she's beating the Gumball Rally record, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we did anybody pull that up for news? We didn't really talk about that.
I have it. However, I'm watching a video about it all right now, so I didn't really get all the way through it.
That's
Okay.
usually Corey's thing. I didn't even try to get
that's
into it.
kind of what I was.
But the man is very fast. He's actually from Maine, so the first thing I did was Google how far away he was.
Yep.
He's like 5.5 hours away from here.
Oh,
Which
Wait.
isn't terrible when you think about you drove across the country.
I was going to say, at the rate he drives, he could be here in
Corey.
about
yeah.
45
Yes,
minutes.
Ben.
I finished. Was it the VinWiki video that
Yes.
you were watching? I finished that.
Oh, perfect. Okay, Ben's got
Yeah.
some news for us.
Ben. All right.
Okay.
Firing on all cylinders here.
Dude, come
Basically,
on.
he rented a it was a G.
It was a
Mustang
Mustang
GT.
GT.
Yep.
He needed something that would be faster
Yeah.
than the Audi.
were-
He was planning to go to do it with his brother at first, but his brother couldn't do it.
Couldn't make it. Couldn't
My
get time out of work.
understanding is they took out the passenger seat,
Yeah,
Yep.
he took out passenger seat and the back seats.
replaced it with 3 fuel cells.
Yeah, they had
130 gallons
100
of fuel.
Yep.
Were they all? Did he have to switch them? Do you know?
They ran,
I
how
don't
do we
think
say,
it's-
simultaneously or
Concurrently.
In series?
yes, thank you. There you
Concurrently.
go. The good old English language over there.
That's right.
That's where it
yes.
all started.
So he only had to stop for one fuel stop, and it wasn't to do a full fill. It was just to get the remaining of the way.
Yeah, and
Wow,
that was
okay.
the fuel stop. Did you listen to get to that part yet?
I was just going to ask.
I
yeah,
have it, but I read it.
So the fuel stop, it was his buddy with his truck in a 150-gallon like service tank for farm equipment.
So
Yep.
he didn't go to a
They-
gas station.
No, they pulled over off the side of a highway, and it took 8 minutes to fill up. The driver got out, stretched, walked around, and then after he got back in and was down the highway, the cop showed up to where his friends were to fill up, and he doesn't know why. He thinks maybe someone called ahead.
Oh, you mean the police turned up?
Yeah, the police showed up to like where
And
the,
someone must have tipped them off, is what
Yeah.
you're saying, yeah. But the
Well,
guy
I
was
mean-
already long gone.
yeah, he was. I think he was like 20 minutes away.
Right.
But-
What's that, John?
So young Ben, we didn't properly introduce this. So there was a guy who drove from the Red Ball Garage
Yep.
Claims.
to what's the place in California?
Portofino Inn.
Portofino Inn in 25 hours, 55 minutes?
Yeah, 25, 50. Yeah.
In a rental Mustang.
In a rental Mustang by himself, soloed across the
Damn.
cross-country trip.
With extra gas tanks. in the back.
130 gallons in total, three fuel cells. What were some of the other things, young Ben, that he got into? Did he get into any details, some struggles, anything like that?
He only had one run-in with cops.
Yep.
And he was flying down the highway, topping out the Mustang, and he just saw the blue lights in his mirror, and
Kept going.
he took the first exit in front of him, and it was a detour, and it basically like took him through a bunch of other exits and then brought him right back to where he was, and he lost the cop because there was one spot where there was 4 different exits, and the cop didn't take the right one. But he only had that one run-in with the cops, which is really surprising for that far of a journey.
Still gets an asterisk.
So he stayed up for
25 hours.
25 hours.
Yeah.
But
Bang
he
energy.
didn't have, it hasn't been verified, correct?
The problem was, there was no third-party GPS verification for it.
So it's not going to count.
So there's there's updates that he sent in. There's the trip computer on the Mustang, but usually they use a third-party verification system.
Yeah.
That pings GPS the whole way.
To me, you have to be then there's no questioning it.
So he was at the Portofino Inn when I think the most recent one came in. Not that dude Doug and Arnie. There was another one after that. I'm drawing a blank on what the gentleman's name where they came in, and he saw the time that came in, and he was like, "These guys did it in an Audi, completely unprepped, with just one fuel cell strapped in there, with no real grasp of what's going on."
Yep.
He's like, "I can do this, no problem."
So
Yeah.
did he have to fill up? He had 103 gallons?
Yeah, so he had 130 gallons. What young Ben just told us is that he met his buddy on the side of the road with some farm equipment and a giant tank fueled up on the side of the road. How long do you say it take, Ben?
8 minutes.
8 minutes.
8 minutes.
To fill 130
He didn't
gallons
fill
of
the whole
fuel?
thing.
Well,
He said
Not-
he just needed
yeah.
enough to get across.
Just to finish.
right, because it wouldn't even take 2 fill-ups.
Yeah.
Right.
He did get stuck in traffic once, and thought he was going to get arrested
Don't we all?
because it was coming into California at the agricultural or whatever stop they do at the border.
Oh yeah,
And
You get stopped on the way
the
to California?
car-
you can do. I guess you get pulled over.
yeah,
For
they
what?
split it up
That was
into
America.
out of state. And
Not when you cross into California.
yeah.
Oh, right.
I
You're
can
leaving the
actually,
country.
I can see at the moment that being a bit more scrutinized,
Yeah,
right? If you
for
had like
sure.
New York plates
Yeah,
coming into
He had
California.
Texas plates.
Yeah.
Well,
or whatever.
expensive
Yeah,
speed.
out of,
Yeah.
out of state. But I mean,
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
you're in a
yeah.
Mustang, they're going to be like, "Oh, this guy's not smuggling
But
agricultural."
Meanwhile,
No,
get a
instead
bunch
he's
of cows in the
smuggling
trunk.
130 gallons of fuel into
The
the
car in front of him got tore apart and searched entirely, so he thought he was going to get searched because he's in there by himself with no other seats in the car
Yeah.
and blankets covering 3 giant fuel
Oh
cells.
fuck yeah, that looks
Yeah, it's-
suspect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
looks like bodies.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Or
Ba-
drugs.
yeah,
Cocaine.
bales of
Right.
cocaine.
Yeah, should have filled
yeah.
one with cocaine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
Plus the cocaine to stay up for 24 hours driving.
no, what the hell's the name of it? There's some
No
sort
dose.
yeah, something like that. Oh, everyone's
Yeah.
He was cranking the no dose.
yeah, cranking the no
Mainlining
dose.
them.
Yeah. He's quite a colorful guy. This is not his first go at it. He's crossed the country many, many times at very fast rates. Doing the
Didn't
Coast to
he-
Coast Express.
He said that he did the cannonball in a Fox body before this, right?
Yeah, they do like a group run type thing, and he did that, and it was this cool like wide body, Fox body white thing. Pretty interesting. Guy seems like a trip.
And he rented it. It was the
He
rent the Mustang. Be like, yeah, and I'm going to drop it over to L.A. tomorrow.
I don't know. I have no idea. I imagine he would have to bring it back home because he's got to put everything back in it.
You can one way it.
What do you do with the seats?
That's true. Just pay the damage waiver.
Yeah, what do you do? You just leave the
Leave
fuel
the tanks in
the
it.
fuel cells,
Yeah,
everything.
here's the $100 damage
Yeah.
waiver.
So, very interesting. And he still thinks that can be beaten. Because he's like, there are things.
Does he think it can be verified?
He thinks that it can be beaten, and I mean, whoever beats it, they can verify it or whatever. But he said the problem with that is that usually your co-pilot or whoever second person in the vehicle is usually taking care of all that stuff.
Right.
And without that, and he's like, at those speeds, you're not really pinging a GPS, you're not pinning a location, you're not dropping pins, like you're not doing anything. My hands are just glued to the wheel and running. So
Yeah.
it's cool regardless. I'm into the solo one's pretty crazy. I know someone sent us about the diesel one, which they left from a different place for some reason.
I saw that. Yeah, that's not a good way to figure it out.
No. And then justify it by it's further some way away. But anyway.
Well, interesting times in the old cross country race.
All asterisks.
I'm waiting
Yeah.
I'm looking for more of the EV stuff. Because then you really kind of get into the whole original planning of it was like kind of planning your fuel stops, planning your traffic, planning your weather, everything like that. When you get to the EV, that's where you're going to start seeing some cool stuff because
Right.
now they're planning their
Yeah, there's a
recharge,
lot
how
more
long-
strategy as opposed to just
tons of
hammering.
yeah, because that's all he said. He's like, there is no strategy anymore. It's literally who
As
can
much
be
gas in the car and hammer it.
yeah, who can
Because
No,
essentially,
who
if he,
can be
had, if he had
craziest.
another fuel cell, he probably could have made it without filling
one.
up.
Yeah.
But if it's only an 8-minute time, who cares? Because you're going to lose a lot with that extra weight.
That's true. What was his average speed?
Ben, you know that?
No, but I know that he said that with all of the seats out and the fuel in, it was about the same as stock weight.
It's the heavy seats on the plane.
Yeah, I was gonna say that,
Those
that
are some
doesn't.
fucking.
He said that he weighed it and it was around the stock weight.
Well, that's certainly interesting. I know he's
Some light
certain that
gasoline.
the Mustang is incapable of going faster than 150 something miles an hour. He's like, it's just not possible.
Huh.
He's just like, I maintained that speed for so long. It's like a 159, a 156, a 159 for such a long period of time. Uphill, downhill, it's just not possible to go faster than.
A lot of
that
times
speed.
cars are limited as well. So
Yeah. There was something. It was like removed to a certain extent. Like,
I'd imagine panic braking with 130 gallons of fuel in the back might not be
no,
a great
thank
call.
you. That's why it starts getting into like, oh, we're just gonna put 200 gallons of fuel.
Well, if you
into
did,
the-
you wouldn't
yeah.
have to stop.
Yeah, but you're just driving a bomb.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Right, driving
It's
a
like
bomb.
driving a Pinto across
it
country.
becomes a lot less cool as it does just kind of like who's crazier.
Right.
That's why I was like, oh, the EV stuff. Now you get back into the strategy, back into the planning, back into the
Take
mapping.
the
out.
ass.
A little bit of meth and cocaine, you'll do it in 16 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Boom. Time travel.
Anything else for news?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to?
I want to talk to Ben.
Yeah, I was gonna say, want to talk some Gumball?
Sure, let's do it. So
Gumball.
Corey's,
Yeah.
for everyone that can see,
Yeah.
Corey's holding up a 10-inch, maybe, Gumball sticker.
I think it's a 10-inch, yeah.
10-inch, 12-inch, what are we
Familiar
talking?
with, you know?
That's gotta be 16ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
based on my standard of measurements.
Serious business.
Which he,
It's like 2-3 feet.
which I gave to him many years ago, maybe. And I was just thinking that I actually took in my surfboard bag when I traveled around the world Gumball 3000 stickers, and that could have been around the world with me. So
I think it's when I moved into your house.
Yeah, maybe. So
You're
that
like, hey,
was-
you like Gumball, don't you? Yeah,
Yeah.
here's a bunch of these stickers. I
Yeah,
was
you
like,
throw them away.
me? Yeah. If I've got them cherished. I wouldn't even.
That's awesome.
I wouldn't even peel them.
So yeah.
So how, you were on a couple gumballs.
I was on a couple of Gumballs, yeah. So I did. I was looking through the years earlier because I was just trying to remember before we did this that my first year was 2004, and then I did 2005, 6. I don't remember 2007, so I'm not sure.
Must
if
have been
I
a real
did that
good
one.
year.
Good.
I mean,
good
I'm
gumball.
sure it was insane, but I was looking at the route and I was like, I don't really remember going to Amsterdam for that. So I'm not sure if I did that one. Then I did 2008, 2009, and I did a bit of 2010. So
What was your initial capacity in gumball?
So yeah, the story was I was in 2004, I was going up to London for the weekend and to see one of my friends, 2CV Nick, named because he had
2CV
like
Nick.
3 2CVs.
De
De Chevaux. And I was asking what he was up to, and he's like, "Oh, I work at the Gumball now." And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. Like, tell me about it." We talked about it for a little while, and he said, "Oh, it starts in like 2 weeks." He's like, "We got a bunch of volunteers, and we're going around Europe." And I was like, "Oh, I want to do it. I want to do it." And he said, "Oh, we're full, but if anyone calls out, like, I'll let you know, and you can come along." And
I'd be missing a limb. I'm not calling out of that.
right. So but like it's like a volunteer thing. Obviously, I worked as crew, so I was like support.
So that's what I was
setup
going
and
to
things.
ask you is what all different positions that people can volunteer
Yeah.
for?
So Maximilian was the owner and founder with his wife Julie, his wife at the time Julie, and there was my friend Nick, and who's the other guy who's now my friend Duncan, and another girl called Alice who worked there at a time. So they were full time, all year round prepping the rally. So as you can imagine, a lot of work goes into everything. Like there's 120 cars and 2 to 4 people per car, and they organize 24 hours for a week of what everybody's doing. And there's, like the sort of premise is you go 3,000 miles and every day there's a checkpoint and a party, and you stay at a 5-star hotel and do breakfast, and then there's checkpoints along the way. So maybe you go for, cool lunch somewhere with a view, or you go to a racetrack or something like a cool checkpoint to see. And it's all planned out because obviously there's police everywhere that are sort of closing roads so that you can go through and do a parade lap. Like the 2004, they started downtown in the middle of Paris. And so there's sort of police blocking everything off. It starts a couple of days early because the cars arrive. There's security has to be there the whole time. There's thousands of people turning up. And then, you have a hotel and everyone checks in, and there's like a driver briefing. So Max will explain the idea about Gumball and kind of gives people an idea of where the route is. Like you kind of know where you're ending up, but you're not quite sure. But you bring your passport and it's like, this is kind of where we're going. And they talk about the spirit of the Gumball, which is kind of the people who embody the sort of Gumball brand the best, and sort of are partaking and making friends and everything along the way, rather than just like racing from point A to point B. And then they're saying, right, today there's a party, everyone gets dressed up and hangs out and starts introducing each other and meeting people. And then the next day there's like another driver's briefing, and there's a sort of swag room, as it were. So you go in, there's like a registry, everyone checks in, and you get your badges or wristbands, and then all the sponsors supply gifts and swag. So Famous Stars and Straps gave out keychains, and the Puma gave out shoes, and you get baseball caps and all this kind of stuff, like tons of swag. And there's CDs and music, and that was when there were CDs.
Yeah.
And like a ton of stuff. So you get like a goodie bag, and you
Like legitimate like gifts.
Yeah,
like we're not
serious-
talking like a sticker here and there. Like
a pen.
like
Yeah.
like serious
So
stuff.
someone called out.
So someone called out, apparently.
You got to go.
And so it was like, I had actually booked the week off because it was my girlfriend's birthday at the time, and I was like going to take a week off and spend it with her. And I was like, "Hey, honey, like,
Go
I gotta
get
go. I
points.
gotta go."
yeah, guess what?
She was not happy. I booked her a spa day with her sister and was like, "I'm out of here." And so I went for the weekend. Lucky I had the time booked off work already, and drove up to London, and they just threw me in and was like, "Oh, figure it out," And this was before social media as much. I want to say, like there was no Instagram
I
or
don't,
anything.
I don't
and
think it was
No.
MySpace.
we
then.
all had. I think there was. 2004. I want to say there was MySpace because
I
I
think there
remember
was,
traveling
yeah.
around the world, and I was like 21, and I had MySpace, and that was back in
You were balling.
92 maybe. Wait, 2002. So we must have had MySpace. And everyone, all the crew, sort of were volunteers. So there was a bunch of us. We all volunteered, and we all sort of, everything was paid for us, like hotels and like breakfast and dinner at the hotel. But it was like, there was 2 crew hotel rooms, and there was like 30 of us. So it was like, you all sort of kind of bundled in and kind of slept when you could. And we all got given, so there was like a crew, the crew was sort of split up. There's like teams of 4, and you would have to set up like a checkpoint or manage a lunch break or an evening checkpoint, and you kind of jumped ahead of the race or the rally because you had to be there at the next checkpoint to set up. So the people that were doing the hotel where we left, there would be another team like at the hotel for the following evening to set up and get everything set up and brand everything. So you had everything with you. You had like big banners. That year we had a huge inflatable like gantries that people could drive through. It was sponsored by Technomarine, which was a watch company. And so everyone got Technomarine watches, like Gumball limited edition, like Technomarine watches. And we had these huge pumps in the back of the cars so they could inflate these huge gantries that people had to drive through. And then, so we'd like dogleg off and start, setting up the first checkpoint. And so there's 4 people per car. And one of the guys who entered decided he didn't want to pay. He was like, "Oh, you can guys," he had a rental company. He's like, "You guys can borrow cars from me for the crew." So we all got like whatever the top X5 was or ML55 AMG as crew cars, like brand new, no miles on them. And we're all like early 20s, like, cool, we got these awesome cars, and like we're about to blast around with the trunk full of stuff, all our luggage for a week, and tons of supplies and things, because at a checkpoint we'd be giving out top trump cards or gifts or whatever it was. And so our cars were all full, like covered in stickers, like branded out, and we drove off. And the first day it started in Paris, and our team was like the checkpoint for like the following, not the first night, but the next day. And we were in Morocco. So we had to drive. We drove from Paris all through Europe, all through France, all through Spain to, I want to say Gibraltar, and then took a ferry across, and then we went to Casablanca for like our first checkpoint, which is like 2 days later. So one of the girls was Max's sister, didn't drive or didn't want to drive. And so there was 3 of us in this car, and we drove 19 hours straight. Like, we got given Famous Stars and Straps, like racing, or Alpine Stars racing gloves. So we just strapped these bad boys on, put in Elephant by Black Eyed Peas, and listened to it straight for 19 hours, like 155, like the whole way. Because we were like, we've got not enough time to drive this distance.
Because they're coming up behind you.
Because, so we left the night before, so they started the next day, so we got a head start. But there was a crew, obviously, that went and like set up the checkpoint for lunch, and then another crew that set up the hotel, the next
They
day,
all
wherever that
leapfrog
was.
each other.
Yeah, so we're all leapfrogging. So we blasted down to Casablanca, and it was insane. The King of Morocco's friend was on the rally, and so the crew, like we didn't, but the guys when they were coming behind had like police escorts. So they were like stopping traffic and just being like, go, 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 you know, like stop signs. So they just were blowing through everything. Like they could kind of do whatever when they got to Morocco. And it was wild, you know, like I like grew up, my mum's boyfriend had a racing club. So I'd go and see cool cars all the time, but I hadn't really driven a bunch of stuff. And so when we were in France, they were like, oh, you know, go and move these cars and park these cars and stuff. So you're like in Ferraris, like driving them around and parking them. And like, this is really cool. And at 20 something, everyone's like, this is awesome, you know, and everyone's like telling their friends about it. And it's the coolest thing. And then anyway, we got to Morocco, we hung out at the hotel. It was where they filmed Casablanca. So it was like kind of cool, you know, cause everything's like themed and, you know, there's checkpoints and cool places for people to stop. So they could all say, we stayed at the hotel where Casablanca was filmed, you know? And it was awesome. So we got to Casablanca and then we set up the checkpoint. Everyone turned up. Like the first guy turns up in his GT2. I'd be blasting down there, you know, and it was like, so we checked everybody in. But the way they do, like the route mappers they had it was like an envelope with a map, but it didn't quite show you where the checkpoints were. So every morning you got your checkpoint route card and it said where you were going the next day. So that's how you knew where the checkpoint was, so people weren't racing and leaving at like 6 a.m. to beat people. So it's like everyone lined up in the morning. They did like a parade, and you would be given out as you drove through like the checkered flag. Like you'd be given your route card, so you knew where you were going for like lunch and then the next day. So that was super cool to be, you know, in Morocco, and then all these supercars come up, and we had to, you know, as everything was already planned, we had like a Bible of everything that we needed to know as the crew, like where we were checking in, who the contact was at the hotel, like how many rooms were booked, like who was going to what room, and when they checked in, where they were going, what they needed to dress up in, and where the cars were parking. But when you get there, it's like the guy who you're supposed to see is not there, and then like the police haven't really been told, but they kind of have, but it's Morocco, so you're kind of bribing everyone, and it's like hectic, and these cars turn up like 2 hours before they're supposed to because they've been breaking every speed limit. And so you're like, you know, you're like, hey, come and park here. And the guy's like, well, I want to park there because I got here first and that's a better spot. And you've kind of got to, you know, there's 4 of you organizing 120 cars until the next guys catch up.
I was just going to ask how many people are on the rally.
Yeah, there was 120 cars, I want to say, and then 2 to 4 people per car. So, you know, the guy gets there with his buddy in his GT2 first, and then there were people in... This might have been the year with the ice cream van, but that might have been the following year. But there was like guys in an old Bentley, these English guys, they'd wrapped their Bentley in a Union Jack flag, and they were all wearing suits, and they were not in a rush. And there was a couple of guys in a 2CV, which obviously was not in a rush. So, you know, guys arrive one time, and then like 5 or 6 hours, people are coming in later. So you kind of organize everyone to be like, hey, go and have a shower and get a drink, and the bar's here, and this, that, and the other. So, you know, we did that. We spent the evening there. It's awesome. There's like a crazy party, and there's celebrities, and I can't remember. I think Exhibit was on the road. Whoever, all these people are on there. So there's like an event, and that someone will sing or DJ or whatever it might be in the evenings. And then in the morning, it's like, hey, line up. Everyone's going. And then they all leave. We do the checkpoint. And then the next day we go to Fez, which is also in Morocco. And we drive overnight there because we've set up like a lunch thing, and my buddy Duncan's in one ML55 and we're in the other one, and our cars are loaded, full, 4 people, full of stuff. We drive along and we're racing, being silly, at like 150, and suddenly flames pour out the bottom of Duncan's car, and like his transmission or something's fallen out. And we're like in the middle of the road, in the middle of nowhere, in the dark, speak a little bit of French, but not enough to really get by. And his car's on fire, and we're like, oh shit. So we like bundle everything out of the car so it's not on fire. This huge like rubber gantry, the inflatable everything, pull all the people out. And in the middle of nowhere, these guys driving the other way down the freeway stop, run across the road with a fire extinguisher, give it to us, and then just leave. And then we're like, great, thanks. So we put the fire out, and we had BlackBerry, so you could kind of tell where you were. And we had GPS in the car, like a secondary GPS. And Duncan's like, you guys got to go. So there's like 7 of us now in our car, like loaded up with stuff. And he's like, I'm going to wait and figure it out because I can't leave this brand new ML like here. So we continue, go to Fez, set up the lunch checkpoint. Everything's great. And then Duncan like pulls in like to the next night checkpoint, like with this car on the back of a tow truck. Like, I kind of figured it out, guys. Like, here we are.
It's dead.
And there was a guy called Kim Schmidt who was like he had this like
Kim.com?
something like that. He was like this German like
Yes.
tech coder.
Yeah,
crazy
Kim,
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
he's Kim.com now.
There's,
Yeah.
there's quite a story with
And
him.
he had like a CL
he's in jail.
600 mega car thing that was
Yeah,
just
called
ins-
CL 6000 or
Yeah, it was
something.
insane. And he was like blasting around the rally. So there's a ton of these crazy
The
characters.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was Torkenstein.
Yeah.
So Torkenstein was this guy who pretended he was like a robot or half robot, and he had a Viper. And cool guy. He was kind of like doing characters on social media before it was really a thing, I guess. And something happened on the motorway, and like
remember
a
this.
wheel blew or something, and his car was
Just rolled it in the
destroyed.
desert, right?
Yeah, destroyed. And he luckily was okay and like kind of finished up the rally, like bandaged, like he wore a mask, like a helmet, kind of this character. But at the end, like he was fully bandaged up and like somehow managed to get this mask on. He was like broken arm, like, and his car was trashed. And one of the guys picked up the fiberglass tail of the Viper, and it had the license plate on that was Torkenstein, and it was just trash, but picked it up and brought it in at the end of the rally. Like he won an award for best something or other, and the guy gave him the license plate, and he was like super stoked. And so anyway, we go back to Spain, and we're driving. We're supposed to go to the Barcelona Grand Prix, so this was one of the checkpoints, but the police decided that 120 people breaking the speed limit covered in stickers like was not okay. So they pulled everybody over. I think one car or a couple of cars got to watch the Grand Prix, but everyone else got pulled over. And Kim Schmidt was just like, there's like 5 police guys here and like so many cars. He's like, I'm just going to go and like figure it out. So he just like blasted through Spain, and he got to France and then was like, yeah, they're not going to do anything. So a bunch of people like followed him and made it. We heard about that. So we like peeled all the stickers off our car, but there's outlines in dirt of like where the stickers were, but we kind of like wiped them down with like water and things and managed to get through. And we got into France, and there was a couple of police cars. Like we were not breaking the speed limit. A couple of police cars were kind of following it as a distance, and we pulled over to get gas. We were behind the rally, and they kind of pulled in like just outside the lights of the like garage where you fill up with gas. And we were like filled up with gas and then just cruised off slowly, and they kind of turned around and just let us go. But that was pretty crazy. And we ended up in Cannes for the film festival. And wait, Cannes was maybe the wrong year. Anyway, we turned up like somewhere in the south of France. It might have been Cannes. I can't remember exactly where it was, but I could pull up this list and it would tell me.
I was going to say, keep in mind, this is 1 year.
This is
Like,
1 year.
this
So
is
2004.
Is this the year that the Mischief guys faked being it? No, that was in the States, the first Mischief one.
Yeah.
This is the year with Bam? Was this with Johnny Knoxville?
I think that was the following year. Oh, yeah, they ended in Cannes. Exactly, yeah, they did end in Cannes. So it was, yeah, craziness. And then I want to say we ended in Cannes in 2005 as well, though.
Now,
2005.
Monaco. We ended in Monaco in 2005. Okay,
how'd
so
all the
they're
rental
they're
cars
close.
end up?
The rental cars all not great because there was so much weight in the back. Like a lot of the inside of the arches was kind of torn out, and the guy I don't think was too happy about it. But anyway, we ended up in Cannes. Adrian Brody was on the rally in a 911 Turbo, and it was awesome. We had like a crazy final party. Like all the cars were parked up like in Cannes along the strip right on the ocean. It was madness, and I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And so that was it. Like, but Nick and Duncan and everyone had been working on it for a year, and we turned up for like the day before it started, like prepped everything, and then went for a week kind of not really knowing what to do. But you figure it out pretty quickly. You know, you've got this Bible of all the stops and names and everything, and if something happens, like you've got everyone's phone number and contact details and a copy of their passport in case anyone gets stuck and everything. So, you know, if someone gets pulled over, you're like, hey, I've got all their paper and they're actually supposed to be here and everything. So that was 2004, and it was awesome. And I made a bunch of really good friends who I'm still good friends with now. And then I was like, yeah, I got to do this again. So 2005 comes, and we're going from London, although on the website it said Vienna, but I emailed Max about that earlier because it was wrong. But anyway, we went from London, Brussels, Prague, Vienna, Budapest, Dubrovnik in Croatia, and then we caught a ferry across to Rome, went up through Florence, and then ended in Monaco in the south of France. So that was another insane rally.
I was gonna
super
say,
fun. That was the one with I want to say with that wasn't BAM. I think that was like Rob Dyrdek and
I was gonna say a lot of
that was
Bucky Lassick.
yeah. So Jared DeAnder, who's a friend of mine, who I met on the 2004 rally, is really good friends with a bunch of skaters like Bucky Lassick, Tony Hawk. He's friends with Ken Block and everyone. So he did a lot of he sort of organized the DC sponsorship. So 2005 we got DC everyone got DC shoes, and they brought 3 Subarus. They did a
I remember the
blue,
libraries
black,
on
and
them.
a white one, all wrapped. And like Rob and Big Black had one car, and then Damon Way and his wife, and I think Ken maybe did one. I don't remember, but it was.
I think so, because I heard a story of that's how Scotto and Ken met.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
That's how they kind of
Yeah.
get together.
So that was crazy. Yeah, that's right. Rob and Big, exactly. So,
Shouts
They-
to Big. Miss that guy.
R.I.P.
yeah, exactly. Funniest, nicest. That was awesome. And there's another group of guys called the Cuban Brothers, who are the main guy's Scottish, and the other guy, one guy's from London. Maybe 2 guys are Scottish, but they pretend to be Cubans and do breakdancing, and they're like probably now in their 40s, but hilarious. And everything ends up they're like decked out as Cubans. They put on the accent. They wear these amazing tuxedos and suits and things and breakdance, and then always end up like in their underpants breakdancing. And they're hilarious. So if you guys want to check them out, they're the Cuban Brothers, and very, very funny. So they did the rally. There's a bunch of crazy characters you meet, and it's super fun. But the 2005 rally was great. We ended up in Monaco, and they had like EasyJet, which is like a budget airline in the UK, or budget holidays. They had a cruise ship which they parked in Monaco for the Grand Prix. So we had the EasyJet like cruise ship as our hotel in Monaco. So you could sort of sit there at the end and like watch the Grand Prix from the ocean, which was insane. But the whole rally was super cool. Dubrovnik, Croatia was amazing. We all caught a ferry across, as I said, to Italy, and then drove up through Italy and then along the coast to Monaco. And the end of the rally, I ended up driving one of the guys' ice cream vans back from Monaco or the plan was from Monaco to London. Had one seat as the driver's seat. The back is like a Dell's ice cream truck, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing in the back. And I ended up taking Rune Gilfberg, who's a pro skater who did the Christ Air on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yeah.
Caprice, who's a supermodel, and Pepper from Salt and Pepper in the back of the ice cream van to the airport. And I have a photo of it. It's really cool. I can find it somewhere and send it, and you guys can put it up somewhere. But it's hilarious. And anyway, I like dropped them at the air. I was like, I'm going to the airport. You guys want to ride? They're like, yeah, we definitely do. So they sat on like upturned Tupperwares basically, and we drove to the airport. And then the plan was to drive back to London, and the owner, Matthew Devlin, was just like, careful, because the oil is like this thing's not happy. Like, you need to keep filling it up with oil. But I drove straight, and at some point I put oil in and gas in, and at some point it was just like, I'm not going any further. So I pulled over into a lay-by on the side of the motorway in Paris and had my GPS and BlackBerried some of the guys behind me. It was like, hey, I'm at this map coordinates, like, pick me up. And they picked me up. We left the car. So when I got back to London, I told Matthew and gave him the keys, and he went back and got it. But that was quite a funny story. So that was another quiet, like, I won't say quiet, but Europe-based one, because the next one in 2006 was basically, it's 3,000 miles, and 2006 was 1,000 miles in Europe, 1,000 miles in Asia, 1,000 miles in America. So we started the rally in London, and then went through Europe. I flew to Bangkok, actually Phuket in Thailand, and the rally went London, Vienna, Budapest, and then all the cars loaded in Antonov cargo planes and flew to Thailand. And the drivers obviously drove through Europe, and then they got to the checkpoint. They got on like a first class flight and flew, and left their cars there, and then they flew, and the cars arrived in Phuket before they got there, so that they arrived. We checked them into the hotel. We stayed in Ammanpuri in Phuket, which was insane. And we got there first. Obviously, the crew only have a couple of rooms. We got there first. The hotel was amazing. We all got massages. Like, it was right on a private beach. It was crazy. And And when the Gumballers arrived, like some of them were wild and found some local entertainment, as you could say, and brought it back to the hotel, and some of them didn't. And a couple of the Gumballers have their own private planes, and so they flew in their own planes. And
As one does.
As one does, you know, because why not?
Have to.
And anyway, we did the checkpoint, checked everyone in. It was awesome. And they all drove their cars 1,000 miles through Thailand. And we were like, well, we need to get like a rental car or something because we got to drive there, and nothing was planned. But one of the Gumballers was like, my plane's going anyway, so you guys can just go on that. And we were like, sure.
Well,
why not,
obviously,
right? So,
yeah.
the Gumballers all drove, had an amazing time, and we got to go in a private jet. And there was 2 captains, and there was like a stewardess or hostess, and she was like, you can't take off unless you're drinking champagne. Like, that's just the way that we do it. And we're like, we're not allowed to drink during the Gumballers crew because we got to be ready all the time. And she's like, well, I'm not taking off. So we were like, okay, well, let's have some champagne then. So we flew up to Bangkok, which was amazing, and then organized the hotel there, because obviously we got there in a couple of hours, and the drivers were, you know, driving up all day. And then they had to drive in from the airport, like through downtown Phuket to the hotel, which was crazy. And the king of Thailand's son was super into cars, so he had organized like a ton of stuff for us to do, and like a tour of the palace for all the Gumballers and everything. It was crazy. And
it's like, this doesn't sound like reality.
No, it doesn't sound like reality at all. And everyone's super nice. All the drivers are super cool. You know, you meet a bunch of great people, and they've all got their stories. You know, some guys are, one guy's had a like an online poker company, so that's how they had all their money. And other guys are like tech moguls. Other guys are just, you know, whatever. They're like, there's guys who have like machine companies that import heavy duty machinery, and they're like down to earth guys who made it from nothing, and they're just like, I just wanted to do this with my buddies. So,
Right.
So you get all kinds of people. There's celebrities, as I said. So, and some people are sponsored to be on the rally because obviously it's good press for the rally, and they get to do it for free. And some guys pay. The first year I think was like $20,000, and then this year, 2006, was like $120,000 each car, because you had to fly them, all the cars. You had to pay for the Antonovs. I think they were like $1 million each or something. It was crazy. There was three Antonov. So yeah, Google Antonov planes. They're huge.
Yeah,
and they
enormous.
Fit like 30 cars in a plane. And then in the morning when we were leaving to fly to the US, I think the Gumballers that year. Oh no, that was a different year. That was 2008. Yeah. So in the morning, the Gumballers have been partying every night, and they're like, we're not really driving today. We're just going to the airport, and then we're going to take off. So a lot of them were like, hey, just drive my car, because we don't want to drive. We got a hangover. Like, you
Get
guys
it to
do
where
it.
it needs to be.
So my buddy drove an F40. I want to say I had like a 911 Turbo. Like, they were just like, and there was SLRs and all kinds of cars. So you're just cruising through downtown Bangkok with a police escort, like driving supercars. It was crazy. I think I've said crazy 1,000 times, but there's no other way to describe it.
I was going to say, no, every aspect of this is just crazy.
And Bangkok was amazing. We're at the airport in the cargo area, because obviously they're cargo planes, and there's police there with guns. And one of the guys doing the rally there was like a TV show or film being made about it, and he was one of the hosts, and he was the 2005 air guitar world champion, and a super cool guy, and was like joking and messing around the whole time. We got to the airport, and there's the police there, and he's like, yo, can I hold your gun? And the guy's like, sure, yeah. So we're like, the police gave him his gun. He's like checking it out. Like, it was wild.
Can I have your gun?
Yeah, they're like, the guy's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then
bit lax on the gun laws out there.
Yeah, this was when I drove the Gumball KN. Someone had a Gumball matte black KN, which turbo.
Oh boy!
And we were on the runway. All the cars the drivers dropped them off, and then they had to be driven and lined up before they went on the cargo plane. So we all had to, like, running back and forwards, like grabbing a key, like driving whatever car, like Ferrari, and then Porsche, and then Lamborghini, or whatever. So we're lining the cars up, and then we have to load them on these planes, and then I was like, there's no space. I'm driving a Lamborghini LM002, which is like driving a tractor. The clutch is super hard. There's no space. You're like set off to the side, and you've got to pull it in. There's a guy, like a Russian guy, like giving you directions that you don't obviously speak Russian. He's like, this way. So we load the cars up, and then before this, actually, when we were before the rally, we had to go to the U.S. Embassy and get visas so that we could fly in cargo planes. So we all had to, because we were part of a film crew, we got media visas so that we could land in the U.S. in a cargo airport. We landed in Salt Lake City, not in the regular airport. We landed in the cargo airport. So we flew on the Antonovs. Bearing in mind, there's like 3 windows upstairs. So you walk in through the loading dock and climb a ladder, and then you're in like a 1970s train carriage, effectively, with these chairs with the crew who don't speak any English. And there's like 4 of us in there being like, we don't know what's going on. Like, I hope you guys are taking us to, to America.
Right, not Siberia.
Well, so we don't know what time of the day it is, and like you're jet lagged and everything from traveling, and we're like, we've got to be awake when we get to America, and we fly, and they wake us up at 6 a.m. their time with shots of vodka and like caviar, like big orange caviar on toast with thick butter, and I was like, this is difficult to eat and drink at the best of times. So we're doing like shots at 6 a.m. and we land to refuel in Russia somewhere on a military base, and we're not allowed to get out. They open the cargo bay so the Russians can look in and check it out. And there's just like lines and lines of tanks and planes and guys with AK-47s, and we're like, this is wild. Like this, you could never experience this.
Right,
it's
right.
insane.
It's just
and then we flew to Salt Lake City. We landed and we drove then to LA for our final party, which was at the Playboy Mansion.
Oh.
So we landed drove to LA and met Hank Fawcett, who was the manager of the Playboy Mansion. Super nice guy. We went in, we got a tour, we saw the games room, and there's like pinball machines and arcades, there's the zoo, there's peacocks, crazy stuff. And they had, I guess you rent Playboy bunnies, or like they're not always there, right? So if there's an event, like you have to say, we want X number of Playboy bunnies.
Wait, they're not always there?
Unfortunately.
So sad illusion.
We had
Santa's not real.
We had
You really ruined that one for me.
Hugh Hefner was there.
I was gonna say,
so that was awesome. R.I.P. again. And there was Playboy bunnies there, and it was again another insane evening, a party and music and people hanging out in the grotto and jumping off the grotto and swimming in the pool and wild. So that was 2006. Again, it's like you're doing all of this in a week. You're like, I've been to 3 continents and driven supercars and like flown in private planes and stuff. And it's, again, like you're doing it for the love of it. You're not getting paid, but it's like there's no amount of money that you could do that.
What was the flight time on the Antonov from Bangkok to Salt Lake City? It must have been ridiculous.
I don't even know.
20 hours?
Probably, because you would
Could you like go take a run in the cargo area?
You just sat upstairs, and we were just like, I don't know, 16 or 20 hours or something. But it was wild. Again, 2007, I don't really remember, so I'm guessing maybe I didn't do that one. Although looking at the pictures of it, maybe I did. But I don't remember going to Amsterdam for that.
well, that happens there.
Yeah.
2008. So in 2008, I moved to America and was looking at Facebook. My friend Jared, who I mentioned earlier, looking through some of his pictures, and he was friends with these guys who ran Rogue Status, which is a streetwear brand. It was like the machine gun sort of print.
Continuous print. Yeah.
It was called Gun Show. So it was like machine gun print all over T-shirts, and it was like a huge thing. And then the Gumball actually did like a play on it with spanners and wrenches and stuff the following year, I think. And anyway, so I messaged these guys on Facebook and was like, hey, like, I'm friends with Jared, what's up? And biked from Silver Lake down to Venice and went and met them, and they were super cool. And one of them was like, hey, we're doing the Gumball, and my business partner's English, you should meet him. So I met this guy, Jasper Watts, who does a bunch of car stuff, and we became great friends. And they were like, oh yeah, hang out with us on Gumball, like, it'll be cool. And so that rally was 2008. It was from San Francisco to Beijing for the Olympics, which was, again, another insane trip. And so I was like managing the checkpoint in San Francisco. So we did the registration room. Everyone gets all their free swag. The cars are parked out the front of the hotel. And these Rogue Status guys are like sticking their own Rogue Status. They didn't pay to be sponsored. They were just sticking their Rogue Status stickers on the cars. And everyone was like, you can't do that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's probably okay. Don't worry about it. And so they were just like, yeah, you're cool, whatever. And so they did the rally. They just did the US leg. So they went San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego to Vegas. And I was going to China, setting up the event there. So I flew from San Francisco to China while these guys were driving around the US. And they had a huge event for the Gumballers in Vegas. And then while the cars were flying in Antonovs again to China, they all flew to Pyongyang in North Korea, which was all planned. Obviously, like going to North Korea is not an easy thing to do.
Right.
And the Gumballers flew to Pyongyang and went to the mass games, which is like the Olympics effectively, but for everyone in North Korea. And there's like everyone in the audience has different color squares, as
I've
it were.
seen
And they
that,
do
yeah.
these crazy pictures or like with squares. And
Yeah.
it's like no one misses a beat. Like everything's 100% perfect because like you don't want to miss
You
a
have
beat
to
over
be.
there.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And the Gumballers weren't really allowed to take any photos because, you know, they're not allowed to bring in anything. There's no, you know, they're not allowed to bring in any branded material or anything. But they were just saying it was the most insane thing they've ever seen. Like to get to experience, to go to North Korea and for it to be okay with North Koreans for all these people to come in, you know,
Right.
it was insane. Everyone said it was a great place to go. It was wild to see all that. So unfortunately I didn't get to go there, but we were in China, and I went to Suzhou, and there was millions of people. It was a huge city, millions of people, and they were like, "We've never seen white people before." It's just like in the middle of nowhere, and for millions of people, like one of the guys on the rally with me was Chinese, and he's like, "We should go and get a massage. It'd be awesome." So we did, and the women were there, were sort of laughing at me, like, "I've never seen a white guy before. Like, what's going on?" And it was wild to see. But so anyway, everyone arrives in China. They're all driving to the Beijing Olympics. And we all got amazing seats. We got to see a bunch of events and stay at these crazy hotels. And I think this was the year that all the Jackass guys were on there. Because I think they flew those guys in. They had a private plane for all the staff and the Gumballers. And they played Jackass 1, 2, and 3. And they showed a video of Bam getting branded with like a dick on his butt.
Yeah.
And I remember being in China and asking him like, "Hey, is that real?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And showed me. And I was like, this is like, what's going on right now? You know, for you to like just having seen Jackass as a movie anyway, and then seeing it on a plane with those guys and Ryan Dunn and everyone, and then seeing them in person, then being like, "Yeah, check this out. It's nuts." But the driving the cars, like the supercars that you see, the celebrities and everything it's a once in a lifetime experience. So that was doing it as crew. And then, as I said, I made friends with the Rogue Status guys. And in 2009, they were like, you can drive one of our cars on the rally and you can do it like from the driver's side of it. And they were sponsored by Scion, RIP, when it was a brand, and Toyota. And the brand manager of Scion, Fred Chang, who's awesome, organized for them to have they had a Scion XB and the Ken Gushi replica TC. It wasn't a drift car, it was front wheel drive, but it was like 390 horsepower, like TC race car.
Yep.
And so I drove the XB. It was like matte black with neon gun show print wheels. Super cool. And they had a bunch of cars. They had a S13 right-hand drive, and one of their buddies had a RS4.
Wasn't the XB 2J swapped? Or was
The
that after?
following year, 2010, it was, yeah. So we drove that cross-country: Santa Monica, Vegas, Sedona, Santa Fe, Dallas, New Orleans, Orlando, Miami. So it was interesting driving it on the other side as you get to drive the rally and enjoy the checkpoints and lunch, and then hanging out with people in the evening and being able to drink for those people that drink and stuff, you know. So it was super, super cool. They closed down the parking lot by the pier in Santa Monica, so we started from there. I think David Hasselhoff was on the rally. I think he dropped the flag. And yeah, it's 3,000 miles in a week across country, and you know that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you've got checkpoints to do and stuff to do and events and partying, and you go to Vegas and Hoover Dam and everything, it
can be nonstop.
It's nonstop, you know. And like I was being sensible and not really partying because I was like, I've got to drive 8 hours or 10 hours the next day. But a lot of people like staying up all night, not really sleeping, drinking, and then that's like, you know, sobering up a couple of hours and then, you know, driving in the next day. And it was no joke, but it was, again, the most fun to actually participate in the rally and drive across, and the great people that you meet, the stories, the sort of memories that you make is awesome. I'm trying to think of some other good stories that we did on that rally.
Can you email Max and get us on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think 2020 happened. So
no.
It says
2021 is going to need
postponed,
some coverage.
Yeah.
Gonna need some coverage.
I know. I think it was 2005. The Jackass guys were on that one.
2005.
2005, I believe, was the year, because that's the year that the actual like Jackass 3000, like that's the way it.
Oh, that was So there was but they did it a bunch of years because they definitely were on an Antonov, because Bam's Lambo, he had a purple Lambo that got trashed at one point.
There was a whole thing with the license plate with him as well. They needed a front license plate. Only had a rear Pennsylvania license plate.
Oh, I don't remember.
And they needed a number plate in the front. And they were like, "Well, can we write it?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he took duct tape and duct tape a rectangle on the front and just wrote. And they were like, "Good enough."
Yeah.
Let it rip.
So that was one of the guys who, the story goes that one of the crew was driving his Lambo and like did donuts and blew the transmission.
Yeah.
And Bam then found out who it was and went to the guy's house and trashed his Peugeot 306 and I think just like smashed the windscreen, like covered it in shaving foam and crazy stuff like that. So
fair is fair.
Fair is fair, but I mean, like a Peugeot 306 is not as expensive as a Lambo transmission. But anyway, so that was the story. I think it was in the papers as well, in England anyway. So that was a wild story. But I mean, just some of the stuff that happens is at one point in one of the rallies, obviously the Gumball doesn't. There's no, you're not supposed to be speeding, but obviously people speed at some point. And on that rally, 2009, someone was going so fast through Texas that the state police closed the 10 freeway to stop the guy because he was going so fast the police cars couldn't catch up with him. They just stopped it like a few exits down and arrested him, put him in jail overnight, and like confiscated the car, and then he rented a car and then just carried on the rally.
Was that the guy? There was a guy in an F50 that got pulled over doing like damn near 200 miles an hour at one point.
I don't remember.
It was back I think that was an early one. Earlier on. That was a really early one.
One year as well, there was some guys who actually used to sell telephone systems. I sold them a telephone system, and then they did the rally, and they bought a brand new. That was the 2008 year because 2006. They bought a brand new Rolls-Royce Phantom. Were driving it through Europe. They got to Budapest, crashed it on the freeway. Somehow it spun out. Something wrote the car off. There was no insurance, so they lost 250 grand. In Phuket, they just figured it out, and they rented a brand new Phantom in Salt Lake City. So when they got back, they could arrive in the same car that they took off in.
Oh man!
And those guys were super cool. There was just some great characters. It's like.
I was going to ask: is there a standout moment? I mean, it's so tough because it's you look at it as a whole, and there's so many different.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, flying in cargo planes is crazy. Flying in private planes is again experiences a lot of people would never get to have. But again, some of the smaller things like meeting friends who you're still friends with now, 16 years later. Like meeting Jared, like I'm still good friends with him. We talk often. I've been to stay at his house in Arizona a few times. He actually just started a podcast during COVID. It's called Beer with Jared DeAnder. It's because everybody enjoys Roadrunners, and it's talking about people that travel around and do extreme sports. So Ken Block's on there, Bucky Lazek, a bunch of people. So if you want another podcast to listen to, it's pretty good. He just started. Unfortunately, a lot of the people are obviously not with him, so the sound quality is them on phone, so it's not as good tough with that bit. But Jared's great, and there's a lot of people, like a lot of the guys. Duncan actually, who worked on Gumball, started his own rally called the Blade Run, which was a boat rally, which he did for a few years, and it was like go from London, like go around Europe for a little bit on boats, which was kind of the same idea, but also fun because it's like you can only get to cities that have ports. So you went to Rotterdam, Amsterdam, and then have an event. It was like a 3-day rally, so it's a bit shorter, but it was again like takes on that. And there's a bunch of rallies that have obviously spawned off this, and it's changed a lot. But the sort of the Gumball enthusiasm and like the spirit of the Gumball, which is the people who participate, the best, as it were, in it and make the most friends, and not really there trying to race. They're just trying to have like the best time and
enjoy
themselves.
Truly,
Exactly, yeah. Is still going on. It's like the Spirit of the Gumball Award, and that's kind of, they used to get a Gumball machine was like the biggest trophy, and it was, it's just a great crew of people, and a lot of them have gone on to do awesome things. And you guys were talking about Mr. JWW, and that's Lucy, Max's sister's husband. She was the one who was in the car with me on the first year, and her husband is Mr. JWW. And so a lot of people, he started like doing Gumball and obviously met her. So there's a lot of people that have been on Gumball and then gone off to do other things as well. So it's just it was a great experience. And it was funny. I have a Gumball stick on the back of my Acti in LA, and was driving down Lincoln Boulevard, and this guy like beeps at me and is like, "Hey, you did Gumball?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I did it as well. I did it 2000, whatever years I stopped doing, like 10 till like 2014. He was like a Swedish guy, and he lived in LA, and he was like, "That's the best, man. That's super cool." So you just bump into people that have experienced it or been on it or know something about it.
It's one of those things where it's well known enough yet small enough to where it's dare I say brotherhood-esque.
Yeah,
that type of, because not everybody's going to experience that, whether it's volunteering or even participating.
There was 1 year where guys in a modified, I want to say it was a Vauxhall, but I could be wrong, and it was like covered in Max Power stickers, and they just basically followed the rally without being on it, and then just like slept in their cars or got like a cheap hotel and just what the unofficial like Gumball tag-alongs. And they were super cool, and it was like, that's kind of like the spirit of it, is like, going along, like kind of enjoying everything, not doing the 5-star parties because they didn't have the wristbands and things, but they were like, meeting the other drivers, and like that was a really, really cool moment as well. And then 1 year in Vienna, 1 million people turned up to one of the checkpoints, and it was basically the whole of Vienna turned up. It was
Jesus.
I've never seen so many people in my life. Just in the car, like the cars driving through seas of people. And again, at the checkpoint, there was like, like a crew or 2 crews of like 8 Gumball staff, like trying to organize this thing for 1 million people. And there was no rioting. There was no like people destroying anything. They were all just there. They wanted to experience it. It was great. It was awesome. So, there's like car culture brings a lot of people together, and it's not always, people trying to trash things and do burnouts and be disrespectful. It's, just enjoying cars and just being cool,
As it should be.
As it should be, exactly.
Generally as it should be.
We got to get on one of those babies.
I know. I was just thinking, so any plans to try to get on one in the future?
Next year's, they're obviously more elaborate than they used to be.
Right.
So, being based in the US, I'd have to obviously fly to wherever the start was and do it. But I mean, that would be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're doing that, if they're based in the UK, if anyone that listens in the UK is trying to do it, I'm sure if you reach out and show your enthusiasm, maybe they would, they always need crew to do it,
Right.
And it's definitely a good group of people to be involved with, and you make amazing connections through it. So
Yeah,
Dude, I'll fly there, be crew. Shit, I'll pay my own flight.
yeah. It was
what do you need me to do? Want to trash or clean something? I got you.
Here we are.
We got a Max's father is an artist and sculptor and things, and he made for the 2004 rally busts, like carved a bust of Burt Reynolds in a fez, which is those red sort of hats with the fluffy things that they wear in Morocco. And so every participant got one of these busts, and I still have it now. It's on my mantelpiece in my house. And it's like a prized possession, It's something
of course.
that you can't replicate, and they only made a certain number of them, and everyone that went on it got one. It's super cool. There's a bunch of things I still have, like keychains and lanyards and things that I would never get rid of because it's like reminds you of the memory of going. And Lucy, Max's sister, made everyone that was in our crew car like a framed sort of picture of all the checkpoint cards and sort of signed everything, and it was awesome, So we've got these framed reminders of of our experience from
just because the story of one rally can be that time we went from here to Morocco and then we hopped on this plane, and it's just like, holy shit, that's
do
why
it that many again, it was, I obviously got lucky, and things have changed. So Nick, my friend who was working there, is like a commercial pilot now, so he's doing that. Duncan works building. We call them old people's home, but his family business. They develop retirement
homes.
communities and stuff in the UK.
Yeah.
So he's like, he finds all the land for that. So he's doing like huge deals, you know. So he's, you know, a lot of people went on to do other things. So it's working for the Gumball was obviously like a love thing, you know. People that worked there, you know, you weren't making hundreds of thousands of dollars as crew, but you were doing it because it was a great experience. You loved cars, you loved being part of it, and it, you know, you got great connections and went on from there.
It truly is. It'd be interesting to see how many things it's responsible for. Again, like we briefly,
I mean, there's so many rallies now that have come out of it, you know,
or even
from
just the
them starting it.
relationships.
Oh yeah,
like between Scotto and Block.
Yep.
And then just like yourself and the people that you met, and then who else there probably was, and what's
many.
Didn't Max
sparked.
meet Eve on the Gumball?
Max met Eve, yeah. So Max and his wife separated, and she actually has her own rally. It's a women-only rally. I want to say it's called Cash and Rocket or Rocket and Cash, and it's for charity. So women, it's all, I think they all wear red, or it's all red cars, and they do a rally, and that's awesome. But yeah, Max met Eve, and they're married now and have been for a long time.
Yeah, that's wild.
So yeah, it's
yeah, for reference, that's Cash and Rocket.
Cash and Rocket, yeah.
Cash
So
and Rocket.
there's a bunch of things that have come off it. So again, yeah, Mr. JWW, his channel,
Yeah.
I'm sure was influenced by that. And he did I haven't ever met him, but I listened to the Smoking Tire edition or episode with him on. It was really interesting how he started. He came from like the fabric world and made or patented fabric, I was telling Chuck, that is tan through. So all the guys with their Speedos in Brazil have tan through fabric, and he got the patent on it and makes a lot of money from that and enables him to have supercars and have this channel. So yeah, it's definitely interesting meeting all these characters. So
it's awesome. I'm glad you came on to share all those memories with us.
Yeah, I mean, there's so cool. Again, so many stories of
that's
crazy things that you could never go through. But just to sort of give you guys the sort of tip of the iceberg, as it were. It's just basically when you're working there, there's like no sleep. You're driving. You're sort of crashing on the floor when you can, like grabbing food when you can. But you're 24/7. But you know, and you're always ready to answer questions because there's 120 cars, and everyone's like, well, where do I go? And where do I check in? And where's this? And why isn't my bag here? And you know, whatever it is. And you've kind of got to answer all these questions and basically not sleep for a week to be able to make the event run smoothly.
Right.
Because as well as they plan it for the whole year,
like, so many unknowns.
Something goes wrong. You know, like a police guy's like, yeah, you can't park here today, or something's happening, and then suddenly the whole event's off, but then you kind of have to like figure it out and like
on the fly
bootstrap it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Sick.
Takes a lot of work and effort, but
Yeah.
again, you have the
Yeah,
story.
it's it's like the drive is the destination, you know. So.
Right. No, that's awesome, and it's cool to see that they're still doing it, still going strong. Obviously, this year things changed, but
COVID, exactly.
they'll be back next year. It seems like.
Yeah. So again, there's a bunch of videos and old movies and things that you can watch and see, like kind of what it was like, you know, from different perspectives. Like you said, there was the Jackass movie. There was one I did or was in called 6 Days in May. There's a bunch of them, and it's cool to see, you know, what was happening back there, because there wasn't social media and people weren't posting on Instagram and everything, and it was just like actually fully paying attention, experiencing, and then making little movies about it rather than like taking selfies. The whole time.
Right, they're living truly in the moment versus on
Yeah.
the phone just to show it to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure now obviously everything's Instagrammed and posted,
right.
but when we started it wasn't. It was, you know,
Yeah.
it was really cool.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
You guys wanted to get into some questions?
Yeah.
We can get into these.
We got one in the chat room from Kyle Greer, who's saying, what's the screening process to become a crew member? I'm assuming they don't just throw random 20-year-olds keys in the credit card and tell them to have fun.
I mean,
some
of the parents maybe might have done that, but yeah, no, it's oh, you mean for the crew driving
To crew,
cars?
yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely no having fun, but they were all like, there was like keys here, and it's like, you need to move all these cars and they need to get moved quickly because that's what happened. So you're sort of running around and like grabbing the keys, moving the car, parking it, putting the keys somewhere, running back.
But the screening process to actually get on the crew, like you were there early enough where it wasn't even
I mean,
You knew some people.
You kind of had to know people, so they kind of vouched for you. So they weren't taking like lunatics, obviously, but everyone was definitely like car people. A lot of people were journalists, and so yeah, it wasn't random people off the street. They were definitely vetted, but yeah, there was no. Yeah, no one was going off like crew going off and crashing people's cars or anything. But yeah,
right. There has to be a known respect and understanding.
Yeah,
of what
exactly.
The hell.
And I mean, the people that are working on the rally obviously are a car guys, so they're not gonna blast around and stuff. But like I moved, drove like F40s or 355s and like a 700 horsepower Mercedes SL, which was just like lost the back end if you put your foot down for 2 seconds, like a Barabbas one, and the Gumball Cayenne and Lamborghini LM002s and things that you would never be able to drive. And it wasn't like I was driving them for an hour. It was like moving them from point one, so maybe you're like, driving it from one parking spot across a runway and over and loading it onto a plane and things. So it's not like you're racing anywhere, but it was like being able to get into something like that and drive it and feel like the LM002, how mechanical it was and how it's not a luxury vehicle at all, but it's like a military vehicle, really.
Yeah.
They had them in Saudi military. It's like a farm truck, basically. But yeah,
Got the bull on the front.
yeah, that's
exactly.
right.
That's where it all started. Let's see. Dextraz76.
Dextra 76.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Oh boy.
Coupes, wagons, sedans.
Marry a wagon.
Marry a wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck a coupe. Kill a sedan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I'm pretty right. Yeah, right
Yep.
there.
Easy.
Exact same thing. David B. Ball 13.
David Beeble 13.
Honda Fit or Honda Fit?
Honda Fit.
Honda Fit.
Rest in PCRs.
Levon Damage.
Levon Damage.
What's each one of your favorite episodes?
Of.
The Chuck
I
System?
believe our podcast.
Oh. I like the Young Ben Cake episode is my favorite episode. I didn't know what it was called.
Oh man,
It was
there's a bunch
the
of
funniest
good ones.
episode
It was
ever.
like part one of episode of.
Oh, was it the
It's a
two-parter?
two-part episode.
It's a
And it's the
two-parter.
part one.
Yeah,
It was like the Christmassy.
yeah. So we had an extended
Let Them Eat
episode or
Cake?
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old Let Them Eat Cake episode.
That is obviously unforgettable. I still just can't get out of my mind Chuck telling the story of you know what they do if you go off at Thompson. Here's my story of how I went off at
Oh
Thompson.
yeah, and I think that wasn't that the Chuck System episode as well?
I think it's all
No,
the
that
same.
was I think that was the Nürburgring episode.
Oh right.
Yeah, and then the Chuck System is standalone. So yeah, literally all three of those are just right up there.
A lot of fun.
Let's see. Jake MX5.
Jake
He
MX5.
just writes, would Chuck be interested in coming to a Mark III destruction party?
Yes.
I think they
here's,
do that
here's,
themselves.
here's a good
Yes,
one.
I don't think I'm not going to have to work too hard.
Starts to separate on its own. Jake _MX5 again.
Jake
What is the
MX5.
point of too much for a build? That's a good question.
I think we were talking about too much of a
We
build
did, earlier.
today when I was talking about putting
Oh.
E85 on my Skyline.
Right. That it. Yeah. When it starts to lose drivability, or even like we were discussing. All right, E85 the GTR, or twin turbo a Viper.
Because at the end of the day,
And
you're
then
gonna pay the same
suddenly
money.
you have 1,300 horsepower in a Viper that's not very usable around here.
I think it's important at the beginning of a build to set a goal that's semi-achievable.
Yeah.
And when you get to it, to have to remember, be like even with the GTR, like I want a 500 wheel horsepower.
Here's why
I have
did
more
this.
than that. Oh, so I'm here, and like obviously you're always gonna want more when you get there, but at the same time, like
You can't use it.
to what end?
Right.
Like right now, the car's fast enough where it's like, holy shit, this is great. I'm at 500. I beat my goal. I'd like to just make it perfect as is, because we were talking about we do E85 and probably get 100 more horsepower. But what's at the end of the day, it's just gonna make it. I'm gonna need to spend all this money on a fuel system.
Yeah. And
I'm gonna have to get special gas or have a sensor, which I'm not against, but it's just like, am I gonna get special gas that much? I'm too lazy for that shit. So I think if you have a goal, make it. And I think a lot of people, if you have a goal, would help a lot. But let's say you get your 500 wheel horse, then hey, maybe my interior could be nice now. Maybe I could paint the car and there's gonna be a point like where I am with the GTR where it's just like, how much of a spiral out of control spending money is this thing gonna be?
And there's certainly a line of if it becomes a burden to enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah.
If
I
it's
think I'm
just
at the
like,
point.
oh, I got it, like, the E85 is perfect example. You can't just run out and grab some. You can kind of set things up to mitigate that and get away with 93, but that's going to have some sacrifices.
Right, but you know, shut the turbo mic. You talk to him. What do I need for a fuel pump?
Right,
He
right.
says you need 600 LPH, and it's just like, well, that's more than one fuel pump. Like, oh shit. So maybe that's it.
Yeah, yeah. Just again,
That's the end of the road.
that's ease
like
of
the
use is certainly
Boyz II
something.
Men said.
Just want to, just want to get in and drive it.
Just have
That's
have
it.
a goal at the beginning. If you get there, like, come on, what am I going to do with more? What are you going to do with more? In the
Right. How much?
If you're going to do highway rolls, might as well just put a Viper.
dare I say, juice worth the squeeze?
Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Never finishing projects.
Never finishing
If
projects.
you couldn't get
Speaking of which,
shawarma after recording an episode, what would you get?
I would get a Nutella and strawberry calzone from Figadini.
We've
Pizza?
gotten. I was going to say we haven't really gotten pizza.
We done
Well,
barbecue.
we went to barbecue when that was the thing. That's not a
Was-
thing.
I
anymore.
go to Tallulah's.
Tallulah's.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Shrimp tacos.
Oh, the
Shrimp
shrimp
tacos.
tacos so tight.
The shrimps.
Oh,
The shrimp.
out of
is-
control.
It's not a fan of anything like seafood.
Came out of the sea. It's not for
Yeah,
Corey.
that's right. Corey hates it.
Fock and Steve.
Fock and Steve.
Shouts to Fock and Steve.
Big shouts, man.
Eclipse Cross Sport. Thoughts?
I'm in.
Have you seen this thing?
No, I have. It's terrible.
Oh my God! The back end looks like it's 5 different cars put in one.
Mitsubishi hasn't done anything good in years, and it shows.
And clearly,
And it's not changing.
They came out
think-
swinging.
I think Steve and I were talking about this yesterday. Basically, I said, "Oh, look, they had some extra remote control or TV parts and threw them on a car." That's basically all that happened. Let's see. Ronan H21 just writes, "Send MR1 all my best from Ireland. Hope he gets back up and running as soon as possible." We agree.
Hit the GoFundMe if you can. Help them out.
Yeah, he man's up, man.
Those euros go well over here from Ireland as well.
Go a long way.
Oh
They
yeah,
go a long
euros.
way, that's
1
right,
euro
yeah.
goes a long way.
That's right.
Underscore D Sawyer
D Sawyer.
just writes, "Pizza.
Pizza.
What's everyone like for toppings? Mine's is pineapple."
Wrong.
So
Yeah.
so the way to go at Domino's is you go thin crust, you go barbecue sauce rather than tomato sauce, and then you go black olives, pepperoni, pineapple.
Whoa. That's
I would
fucked up in all
try
the
it.
ways.
I would try it for sure. Because everything I
pineapple
like
out.
everything on there except for the pineapple.
Just
but
take
I
the
imagine
pineapple
the sweet little nice. Yeah, it would
It's
be a
good.
little
It's
surprise.
crunchy.
Well,
It's
that-
something.
That sounds like an experience, not a pizza.
It's
I like that you go hard straight for Domino's. You're like,
so
We're
it was
going
funny.
Domino's.
My girlfriend was like, we're gonna get pizza, and I was like, okay, let's get Domino's. She's like, no, Domino's is trash. And I was like, maybe, but you know that when you get Domino's, you know it's gonna turn up on time.
consistent.
It's not expensive, and it's always like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Like you're not asking for 10, you're not expecting it.
4.5
No,
out of 10.
I'm going 7.
Well,
so
since quarantine.
7 out of 20.
Yeah.
so
Wait, you're talking L.A. though.
I'm talking anywhere.
L.A.
I
So-
imagine LA Domino's Pizza being a bit more.
I just imagine there's not good pizza.
I mean,
in
it's
LA.
not great, but again, like she was like wanted to go to this expensive place. They order it. I drive up to pick it up. The guy's like, "Yeah, we're just closed." I was like, "We have an order." He's like, "Yeah, I don't want to make it. I canceled it." So I was like, "I'm gonna get Domino's then." She
Yeah.
decides to get something else. They're also closed because it's quarantine. I had ordered my Domino's, paid for it, and then she wanted a Domino's as well. So I went back to Domino's, got it. I could have been eating Domino's an hour ago.
I think Domino's Hero Factor has changed your rating.
$7.99. You can get whatever you
That's
want.
a rate. It's definitely a
$7.99.
rate.
Pick up.
Solid.
Domino's shares. That's the way you want to
Shout
go.
I should have go Domino's shares.
Robin Hood Domino's.
Right.
I drive cool cars.
I drive cool
He
cars.
just writes, "Is Fieldworks canceled?"
No.
As far as we know, no. I think they left it a bit open-ended. They have a date, but they ultimately left it up to the governing
Governor.
bodies to decide how.
Yeah, if
it's
they
gonna
won't let
all
you do
play
it
out.
here, just come have it in Revival's parking lot. This will be over 150 people. It's going to be great.
They're like usually well over that for.
Yeah, well, then didn't count
Yeah.
so good.
Ian K.
Ian K.
Why doesn't Mike's Calzone sponsor the show?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
In some ways, they do,
They do.
because when we go there, they give us
We get some perks.
Some
I'm going to go
perks,
give
right.
away the whole farm there, you know?
we get
We get
some
some perks from Mike's
and then
Calzones.
even Young Ben has been picking it up, and he's been getting some perks as well.
We're just happy to support Mike's Calzones and local businesses. We don't need sponsorships from them.
yeah. Shouts to Mike's Calzones.
Shout out to Mike.
We do want to work with
Get
them
that
on
new baby.
on
God bless.
when we put on an event here. We would like to get you know,
Yeah, we're gonna try to make that happen
shawarma on
once
the
we're
fly,
back to
if you
normal.
will. Some sort of thing.
Little local shawarma.
Ransom Garage, just right. Shouts to
Ransom Pete.
Ransom Garage in your beard.
Shout to the beard.
Is JD Power corporate office in the center of the earth?
Yes.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. There's definitely twisting of snakes there. if you will.
Elevator down there.
Base DVR. When's the next meet? I missed the
Base
donut meet like
there.
a pleb.
Probably within 2 weeks we'll have another donut meet.
Yeah. Medium performance.
Medium performance, big show.
All right, here we go. Favorite cookie other than Oreo, Chocolate Maria cookies by Goya. Don't sleep on them.
Chocolate Maria cookies by Goya.
I don't know if I've ever even seen one.
Can't say I've seen it. Where do I find it?
Yeah.
Young Ben, what are chocolate? What?
Chocolate Maria cookies
Chocolate
by Goya.
Maria cookies by Goya. What are we talking over there?
1 second.
Yeah, let me get a visual.
You work at the market. You ever seen him in there?
Nah, his market's all farm stuff.
Oh, it's farm. Okay.
They
My
don't
bad.
work at the old market.
They don't farm the cookies
They
there?
weren't paying him enough.
No.
All right.
What's up with them chocolate Marias though?
Also, to medium performance, gonna be a no for me on the fender flares. He posted something on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Fender flares on the R33?
Yeah.
I have to pass.
So
Yeah.
for all 2 of your Irish and UK listeners,
Yes.
that call in England obviously they're not called cookies, but like digestive
Crisps.
biscuits,
Oh, the digestives.
hobnobs, chocolate hobnobs,
What do we got?
delish.
Can I get a picture of the cookies? Jeez.
What was that
I was
picture
gonna
of?
say, what did you show?
Picture of
you?
the packaging.
Goya rice. Like,
Also,
what's-
also Viscounts as well. They were
You're-
like
What?
chocolate with mint in wrapped in green foil. Again,
Whew.
delicious. Also jammy Dodgers.
Okay. I see it's like a chocolate covered joint.
Okay, it looks like an Oreo in a Goya package.
What's the best Girl Scout cookie and why?
Thin mints and you can
Whatever
make
those peanut
s'mores-
butter ones
From
are.
the rabbit hole, which is
Corey, I agree with you.
You can make
Thank you,
Dog
s'mores-
pizza?
You can make
Dog
s'mores
pizza.
yeah.
out of. I mean, you can make s'mores out of any Girl Scout cookie, but thin mints.
I'm not a thin mint guy. I like the other one, but I don't know the name of it.
Samoas. Those things are legit. The
Samoas
What are the
are
lemon
very
ones? I
tight.
like the lemon ones too.
No one's had those.
Samoas or thin
I don't
mints
know.
for sure.
Hey, why are the chips so much better in the UK? I don't get it, man.
Crisps.
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 Sorry.
Oh, we
Give
were
me the
talking about that.
roast chicken crisps,
roast
man.
chicken Walkers, prawn cocktail,
Oh,
Worcestershire sauce.
Oh, you gotta
I've
stop.
had the Worcestershire.
Marmite. Oh, all good.
can we get some English?
Twiglets?
Can we get our people out there on the island to send us some more
Yeah, can we get some
Cadbury
English?
caramel and some
English
roast
chips?
chicken crisps?
Yeah.
We got money. We can send it to you. I know it's not worth
I might
as
have
much.
more parts coming over from there, so maybe.
Yeah,
you can
let's
throw
load
some in.
them up,
Instead
baby.
of
Let's load
using
them up.
those like bags filled with air, you could just fill crisps in there.
Yeah,
Chips.
chips.
And last but certainly not least, one to end it very well. Dog pizza.
Dog pizza.
Who didn't kill himself?
Epstein.
Epstein,
Jeffrey
man.
Epstein.
Not
That's an
even once.
interesting documentary. If you guys haven't seen that,
Interesting as in you mean horrifying?
Yeah.
as in
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's
wild.
Yeah.
That's the I've heard some things about it, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want to watch that anymore.
I
kinda
I
know
would.
how-
That shows you that money can basically get you whatever you
Anything
want.
you want. Yeah,
Up
or
to
or
a
get
certain
you
point.
or get you out of anything.
Yeah.
And even then, it allows you to walk in and out of jail every
Yeah,
night. You know,
whatever
you
you
just
wanna
got to
do.
sleep there.
Party on.
Shout out to They Call Me Davis for riding bicycles. I'm friends with him on Strava.
Big shout to the
There you
Strava.
go.
They call me
The
David.
Strava
Shout
crew.
to English
There's a
Ben.
bunch of Stravites out there.
Stravites. That's a good. There should be a revival Strava. for-
Stravites.
I use Strava.
You do?
Yeah.
We better be friends.
Get a friend up.
Shouts to Strava.
Shout.
Anything else we missed? I know.
That's it. I'm trying to get a
I
shawarma,
think,
boy.
Yeah, trying to eat. So
I thought I was going to be out of here at 7:30. It's now 8:52.
Yeah, it's 7:30.
Oh yeah.
I
That's
thought I'd start at 5.
that's
2.5
old school.
hours bullshitting. Boom.
Yeah.
Start
that's-
at 6. Out 8:52.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
That's some crazy math you got going on over there.
Daughter's
Things have-
supposed to be asleep at 8.
Oh,
She's
jeez.
at Chuck's house half an hour away, and I got to drive to South County another hour.
Oh
Boom.
boy. There we go.
Yeah.
Late
she'll
night.
Have a nap in the car. That is going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. 5 stars on iTunes. Tell all your friends, please. We want to spread the word and grow.
Write us a review.
Peace.
Rocks.
Hey,
Young Ben.
young man.
Young Ben. Titanium. I love it. See you guys. Young Ben in the room.